Well, well, well. Would you look at that? It's the yapping day on Thursday. Ah, how magical. It is not by my hand that I'm doing this. But I don't think it's bad. I don't think Thursday is a bad day for yapping. Dang, here we are. I need to mention this before anything else happens. I'm pretty positive right now there's a massive memory leak on Google Chrome. Not something I enjoy, but something I have observed. It was not just me. I got it mentioned, not literally the memory leak, obviously not, but something like that was mentioned to me by my mother. Because she was struggling with Google Chrome too, and was like, oh, that's been happening to me. How curious. I wonder why. Well, I know exactly why. Memory leaks, baby. The DNA of the soul. It's actually really bad. And I think it's becoming worse and worse by the day. I suffered these already 2 days ago. Today's pretty much unusable. It's really bad. It's insane. And anything that has to do with Google Chrome is being affected. Oh, but I thought Google Chrome was good. Yeah, sure thing, pal. Come on. What are you, stupid? I mean, it's fine if you are. But don't. You shouldn't. That's what I'm trying to say. You shouldn't be. It's not going to help you. Also, I have actual news, I guess, for Saturday. I'm actually going out to it. So there's that. I don't think that's going to really affect anything about the Saturday stream, but I thought I should mention it. So there's that. I'm gonna have Chinese for my birthday. That's pretty good. I don't like Chinese. Not a big fan of China itself. But I do like Chinese. Pretty good. Well, well, well. Well, 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 well. Yeah, but you get rolling. Is this actually lagging? I'm not sure. What say you, OBS? Okay. That's from network. You mentioned something about the rendering lag, but I think usually happens when I open OBS, so I'm not gonna be scared about 64 frames when I open the program. Don't think it's a big deal. I also have to mention that YouTube has been extremely jank recently, so yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? Very jank. And since I have a bunch of tabs open on Firefox, it's also struggling. What's struggling? Everything is struggling. Why is that? I don't know. How would I know? I have no clue. But it is struggling. Speaking of RAM, I don't know if it has to do with anything really. But I saw this tweet, I think it was earlier today. I didn't save it, what a shame. It would have been pretty good. It was actually topical. About how much RAM is actually useful. Well, back in the day, 8 gigabytes was more than enough. Nowadays, 16 is kinda small. And you had some people saying, yeah, I have 2 browser tabs open with Twitch, and that's 22 gigabytes of RAM. I don't know what these people are doing with their computers. I actually have no clue. I don't think that makes any sense. I don't think that's normal. What do I know, I guess? Well, let's me surviving with 16 gigabytes of RAM, because, lo and behold, AI bubble. Isn't that fun? Yeah. It's fun in CBT. What is CBT, you might ask? And don't ask. Just don't ask. If you don't know, you will be happier this way. Trust me. So I'm trying to move a bunch of stuff around. It is a struggle. This is a massive struggle. I guess that's what happens when you don't have enough PP. Is that a joke? Is that a PP joke? Could be a PP joke. Let's get some music. I think this is probably pretty good for today. Studying Pokemon music to bring some peace after a long day. As this being a long day, it will be. Surrounded sea. Surrounded by whomst? I have no clue. It's trying its best. That's the only thing I can say. It's trying its best. Anyway, where do we start today? Boy, oh boy, we have a lot of stuff for today. Let me make sure this is placed properly. Oh, I'm feeling a sneeze too. If it happens, it happens, okay? It may happen sooner rather than later. It's getting actually pretty cold. Hold up. There we go. I thought spring was coming. When you started today, what do you mean 20 degrees? Well, 20 degrees was pretty good. Suddenly, in the coming days, we have like 7. And I was like, are we sure this is March? Are we sure spring is coming? Maybe not. Maybe this is a perfect cherry blossom. We had to play perfect cherry blossom again. I think that was the first game we played on stream. It's been a while. I've never been that good at the whole games, to be fair. I like them, but I don't think I can keep up. I'm too tired all the time. I'm too old for this. At young. I was younger, was better. I can't say it was easy or was a master or anything like that, but it was better. So let us talk a little bit about YouTube, shall we? If you're clowning on them, it only makes sense. So let me make sure everything here is placed properly. I think it is. I think we have good placements. And I'm gonna preface this tweet by saying I don't know if YouTube actually has an actual algorithm anymore. From what I've seen, not from what I've seen from my own channel, but people much larger than me, not talking about huge content creators, but with a decent size, they are struggling with the exact same things, and I have to wonder, this is just an RNG fiesta at this point. The worst game you could be playing, YouTube. Because you would have some videos with a fantastic click-through rate. That means a lot of people that get shown the video click on it. 10% is actually pretty high. For some reason, those tend to not be recommended to anybody. So, it's really strange. But then you would have videos with a lot of clicks, even though the click-through rate is actually pretty small, about, excuse me, 1%. But the algorithm, the lag gods, I don't know what to call them anymore, were like, you know what? We're gonna push this one. I have no idea. I have no clue. I thought it was out of YouTube's gay baby jail. I'm not sure anymore. It's been a really strange experience uploading videos in the past 2 months. It's been extremely inconsistent compared to the past 2 years. Does this anything have to do with it? I don't know. But apparently, they're changing the algorithm this year. I will believe it when I see it, and I don't think this is actually what YouTube wants. From past reviews, if you're a YouTuber, you should be aware of changes to YouTube's algorithm this year. YouTube and other Google services will be implementing something called GIST. I guess this is the gist of it. Or is it GIST? I'm not sure. I actually see that's written, not spoken. Create independent set thresholding, an algorithm that seeks to prevent users from being shown the same thing over and over again from different channels by using AI to analyze the content and determine its uniqueness based on what it determines to be your video's category, niche, sub-niche, subject, format, style, ID/information, and signature. Using AI, you know this is gonna be a disaster. Not because it's AI, but because it's YouTube. Adding YouTube to AI, yeah, that is a wild combination. The last two, ID/information and signature, are the most important because those are what will distinguish your content as human-made. I'll get back to that. Basically, GIST, I'm gonna say GIST because it's the same as greedy, right? It's not treaty. Is this a GIF-GIF situation? Well, I never had GIF. I don't know if it's good. And some people like it, I guess. Some people like really strange things. I don't know how to feel about them. Basically, GIST creates an imaginary radius around the video based on those aforementioned criteria. I will place other similar videos around it in this imaginary space. The closer another video is to the center, the more similar to the video is, and therefore, the less likely it is to be recommended. So despite this graphical explanation being close to the center, I guess it's actually not good. Which, I don't know if that makes any sense. I guess they're trying to avoid samey videos. Hello? Where were you the last 20 years? Nonsense. So you sing it on single channels, all using stick figure illustrations while explaining the top 10 most brutal historical torture methods, or something like that. Those types of videos are going to die off. It's kind of funny. I've read this tweet fully. So, they will tell you this to try and crack down on AI-generated content, but I still don't think that's what YouTube wants. Because that doesn't make any sense to me. AI content is actually really useful for the likes of YouTube. Because the AI content, I know I explained this many times before, but I need to explain it again and again and again if need be. AI content is really useful for YouTube, because AI content will always be really safe, really sanitized. You know what happens with safe and sanitized content? You can put ads in it! Hey, that's what they want, ads! So therefore, I don't think... Bottom text. I keep making that joke. Is it still funny? I don't know. I don't think they actually want to crack down on AI content. In their ideal world, they will have just an AI machine of content, if that makes any sense. You take away those problematic YouTubers that could be saying strange stuff. Do you guys remember that apocalypse? Which one, you might ask? Any of them. Yeah, pretty much that. I don't think that really helps when we're seeing stuff like Elsagate. I don't know if that was actually AI generated, but we know that AI can hallucinate really bad. It can go... It can become really, really high, so make of that what you will. I don't think I'm entirely wrong, because you will see a lot of AI slop in your feed. I know I have. We'll see what happens with that. Back to the idea/information in signature. The algorithm will look for indications that your video was made by a human and not AI. Do you think a clanker could copy this? Be for real. Hey, we'll see your face if you show it. I wonder if it's gonna also get fed information like vtuber models, which is the previous question here, but other similar identifiers like static PNGs, right? The old PNG tubers with political content, right? Like Sargon back in the day. It is an identifier. It kind of makes sense, but depends on the quality of the AI, I guess. Once again, it's Google, I don't expect anything. Your voice, your rating style, your catchphrases, your humor, and so on. Your humor. Well, I'm completely screwed. What about my humor? I guess it's only me that I like it. It's about specific. To use text-to-speech voices to explain something over unrelated video game footage, like millions of the channels do, you're in trouble. Well, nowadays I think a lot of people use AI, text-to-speech. So I wonder what's gonna be the caveat here, because you could be using, I don't know, a famous person, right? We've seen this as add-ons on Twitch, for example. What's the name? Danji, I think? You can have the likes of, I don't know, I think I've seen Joe Biden, for example. ACTTS, which is really funny. You can make your own TTS using your voice. Those TTSs tend to choke, and it's hilarious when they choke. But you could do that. Technology. So I should be doing this because of the influx of AI-generated and copycat content. Is this really bad for YouTube? I don't think so. YouTube is now flooded with low-effort content that only exists to supply ad revenue at the expense of user experience. YouTube doesn't want users getting bored or clicking on videos because they are not providing anything valuable. So these new measures will reduce clickbait and rip-off content. I don't know if I agree with this. I know I feel the same way, but I don't think that's most people, actually. I would say probably the opposite, if that makes any sense. I've seen your average normie, and not a big fan of normies. I think that's a very well-known and established piece of information about me. Fucking normies! I don't have that Banco clip on hand. Sadly, I need to download it. It's really useful. I do buy with that a lot. But I've seen normies on Twitter. Most people, when I see most people, I guess I should say normies, or most normies at least, are not really that privy about AI stuff. We've seen the so-called Facebook boomers falling for pretty obvious AI. I mentioned this when it happened, and kinda became a bit of a meme, at least on Twitter, right? The pretty obvious AI video of the fat old woman throwing a rock on a glass bridge and people falling and a dog saving a kid or something like that. If you have eyes to understand that's not real, because those people are morphing into dolphins. I don't think that happens in real life, even though I'm seeing a lot of abortion debates. I don't know, it's really strange. And we also see, I guess that's also being a common occurrence lately, thanks to the Iran stuff, with the war propaganda, or war misinformation, I would say. Oh, look! These Iranians are destroying these American jets! Community note. Well, I was surprised it was not Arma 3. It was War Thunder. Different game. But it's still a video game. It is pretty insane how this keeps happening. And we see a lot of people saying, oh, but these AI videos disappeared. No, they didn't disappear. Maybe you created better your feeds. That's always a possibility. I think I have better created Twitter feed in that regard, even though it's really chaotic. I forgot to do it before. I hope I don't forget after. Well, I think it's a big deal. But the AI is still there. It became, I don't want to say higher quality, because the problem with AI has always been there, which is the lack of consistency, not the visual fidelity. But you see a lot of people falling for it. There was a recent one too. Speaking of war propaganda, I guess, a little kid crying on top of a coffin covered with the American flag. Like, see, this is what war does. I'm like, okay, sure, we all understand that. Yeah, war bad because people die, but this is blatant AI. Kinda detract from the point. I don't know what I was trying to say with this. I guess fucking normies, at the end of the day. It's a little bit laggy. Stop it. Something's out in the type of review videos and we discussing politics, news, economics, and ideas. As usual, YouTube fixes the problem by taking it out with a nuclear bomb. Thinking about the causalities in the process. Well, this is pretty useful for YouTube too, right? If you're assuming AI is useful for them. Discussing politics on YouTube is an absolute landmine for other stuff. The same with news, mostly economics too. And ideas, we'll understand that some ideas are a big no-no. Review videos? Well, they don't like some reviews. Why are you criticizing this? How dare you? Well, I mean, if it's bad, I think we should say it, or we could say it at least. We can substantiate those critiques with information, or at least a proper explanation. This is not about High Guard yet. I don't have stuff about High Guard, don't mind me. Chris Bingley. I had to say that Bingley is a really funny last name. This will never work. My channel is all gameplay content. It gets recommended on sports streams. I mean, if there are sports games, maybe, but I don't know. I wouldn't say so with that PFP. Much like cricket and motorcycle racing. If YouTube can't even figure out what content is similar to recommend a video or stream, how are they going to group it together to stop people from being recommended similar content? Yeah, I've seen the recommendations being really strange lately. I do appreciate that they're finally showing smaller streams. That benefits me, so of course I like that. But I'm seeing a lot of weird shit that I'm like, okay, alright, what is this? What is even going on? What are these recommendations? I have no clue. What does they have here? That's like the one to go back to the old suggested videos that actually has similar content to what you were watching. But somehow it seems they're going to screw it up. I mean, it's YouTube, I think it only makes sense. You know, instead of trying to implement AI detectors, which never work because generative AI already has them built in and is trained to treat them. To some extent, I guess. You also use AI to detect AI, so it might fail for obvious reasons. They could just turn the dislike button back on and actually pay attention to it. No. Now, they got fried to some extent by the likes of Disney, so that's never gonna happen. I don't know, this feels like a little bit of a bit of a cope, because it will boost actual creators, but I don't think this is gonna be good if this is what's actually going on with YouTube right now. What do we have here? Speaking of YouTube, I do like to combat this information, okay? I don't like YouTube, I don't like many platforms, and I don't like many companies, but we have to be truthful. YouTube will reportedly require a government ID to access the comment section starting in 2027. This is part of the account, this is not real. Go fuck yourself, I did this comment. Still no idea needed to vote in this blue state. I mean, yeah. It's a really ever used argument, but I don't think it's wrong. And here we have, hey, it's personal reviews again. Guys, this is part of the account. Yes. Could this happen at some point? Yes, but this is, as of right now, not real. We have to know that. But, not everything is wrong with YouTube. There's also wrong stuff with other streaming platforms. So before we get into this week's Twitch thing, let's talk about a different thing, which I found really funny because, of course, a Twitch mod jailed for stalking a streamer, arrested for stalking her again after release. But remember, it is against TOS to criticize Twitch's moderation, not demolish you out to your channel, but the actual people from Twitch. You're also prohibited from accusing them of a strange situation with sexual favors with the streamers. Mostly female streamers. Why can't we say that? Well, I think it's self-explanatory. For a second I thought this was... what's her name? Cosplayer woman. Her last name kinda sounds like the N-word, so I don't know if I want to say it. I think her first name was Jessica, but I'm not sure. Hey, is this Dragon Quest 8? Former Twitch moderator is being arrested again after allegedly continuing a years-long stalking campaign against the World of Warcraft streamer. According to the court documents, even Bolt Hero was taken into custody on February 27th in California. Never been in the allegations, I'm afraid. And charged with stalking the streamer known online as Nally Please, I am assuming. Trying to say this, a single word is probably gonna destroy me. Years after the harassment first began, Walter had previously moderated Nally I want to say it as a single name. Nally Police's Twitch chat and met her in person at BlizzCon in 2019. However, prosecutors say the situation escalated after he began donating large sums of money and was started to be his Valentine. But then, these normies will have the audacity of accusing the VTubing quote-unquote community of such acts. The Sims, the pro-sociality. What about this? I'm just pointing to the screen as if I had hand tracking. I will be a menace with actual hand tracking, okay? That'd be cool though. That would be cool. To hell with your heresy, pal. I've seen way worse from the Fleshies, by the way. Like that chick that got her car burned through a crisp by a fang. Imagine what an auntie might do against you, by the way. She rejected his romantic advances and later removed him as a moderator on her channel, which, I mean, it makes sense. What else are you gonna do? You could just ban the guy, too. That's also useful. Authorities said the harassment began in 2020 and included threats, doxing, and the distribution of manipulated images. According to early filings, vtuber allegedly created hundreds of fake accounts across platforms to contact the streamer, spam her live stream chats with abusive messages. Okay, at this point you need to talk to the site itself, because this is criminal harassment, and your moderation tools are not enough. And this guy probably should be IP banned, or I don't know if they can do like a ban to the MAC address of the device. Might be too much for the likes of Twitch. But there's clearly something missing moderation-wise. Now that I think about it, you could put the chat in verification only. You need to verify the accounts with the phone number. Making 100 or hundreds of accounts with the same phone number, wouldn't that be a big no-no by Twitch standards? That seems correct to me, but what do I know? Nothing, apparently. Investigators also accuse him of hiring someone to create photoshopped images using Nalapolis' face, which were then shared online and sent to people in her personal life. I mean, this has been happening for decades. GG is out of the bottle. It's way worse nowadays with AI. Yeah, she looks like your average girl, I suppose. I guess first knew that vtuber being arrested in 2022. He pled guilty and was later sentenced to 2 years in prison as the violent conditions of his trial release, according to reporting on the case. Okay, this case is actually insane, I suppose. Not only you keep falling for it, not only you keep doing it after pleading guilty. What are you trying to do here? By the conviction, the harassment allegedly resumed through his release. This rumor's ex-mob arrested the gang after more alleged harassment. In February 26th, affidavit, written by FBI agent Nicholas Vicencio, now the police contacted authorities in December 2025 after strangers began messaging her with information taken from Reddit posts made online in her name advertising dirty talk and video games. I mean, that can happen to literally anybody. Not private information, but the advertisement is dirty talk and video games. But that says more about Reddit and your average Redditor than anything else, in my opinion. Maybe Reddit should be destroyed. Maybe? Let's just say maybe. This is not a call to action. Subpoenas later traced the post back to an IP address connected to vtuber's father's home, where he was living. Reaching out to also reportedly discovered a handwritten note containing the streamer's personal information, including her phone number and address, during a search of the residence. Boy. Investigators believe vtuber used the information to impersonate police online and create posts designated to harass or embarrass her. Doesn't this count as... It's not phishing, right? It's... How do you call this again? I'm not sure. Hold up. I don't know the proper term in English. I'm looking. Spoof? What's the spoof? I get the spoofing to some extent, but I was thinking more identity theft. It is to some extent, so that would be a bigger crime. Weird. Then again, we all see in Twitch protecting a bunch of weird people. Like, for example, what's the guy's name again? Was it Linkara? I'm not sure. The guy that got banned because he had that strange stuff that's not bad with links to actual illegal content. Came back after a month. How strange. How strange. Good to David, the ongoing campaign has caused the streamer significant anxiety and fear for her safety and that of her family. I thought to say she has largely withdrawn from online activity, which previously served as her main source of income. Being a big streamer, or being a professional streamer, is something kind of dangerous, not gonna lie. Not just because of doxing, but I do think it's actually really taxing on your mind. I'm not saying it's so much harder than in 9 to 5, but it is different. It is hard in a different way, that's for sure. I guess it kind of depends on the streamer. As reported by Aftermath, Valtier is currently being held in custody ahead of his trial. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for March 13th, followed by a post-indictment arraignment on March 16th. Just the latest in stalker incidents involving streamers. In 2024, vtuber Camilla had the stalkers try to break into her home and streaming a scary broadcast. I remember that. Alice like E.T. Cinderella has expressed concern about attending events such as TwitchCon 2025 over fears for their safety. I mean, yeah, she was vindicated with the Emiru stuff, but then you also have political motivated aggressions, which are also not nice. Same event, Emiru was holding a meet and greet when a male fan escaped to the front of the line, grabbed her, and attempted to kiss her. Also last year, a Korean streamer was found dead, and one of her viewers who had donated tens of thousands of dollars to her was arrested for her murder. I remember that case. It was a really strange situation too. I can say the guy was innocent, of course he wasn't. But justice was also to blame a lot in that case. So now God, it's loading. It is time to start view voting. Boy oh boy. So many allegations about view voting. Oh, this is the losers topic. Nobody's really view voting. Everybody knows me. Apparently everybody's actually view voting. I'm not saying they're view voting 100% of the viewers, that doesn't make any sense. But it's clear that it's happening. And this guy, Reed JD, the CEO of Night Media, which, if I'm not mistaken, Night Media is the company, I guess? Talent agency, I think is more correct. That has Asmongold? Sounds correct. I think I read a little bit about them at some point. So, what does this guy have to say about view voting? It's time to start view voting, baby. What does it do to get through all the noise on the internet? If everyone else is voting, why shouldn't you? If everybody jumps from the bridge, why shouldn't you? We are still living in a world where you make great content, algorithms will find an audience for your videos. Yeah, this line says more about the algorithms themselves than the content. I understand there's a lot of competition, but we just talked about YouTube being absolute jank. I don't need to repeat myself, but I could. Now creators have to clip farm, pay clippers, and sometimes even view bot to have a better chance of capturing more attention and breaking through the noise. Especially true on platforms like Twitch, where view botting can surface you on the front page of popular streaming categories. They also say a lot about Twitch. Twitch is ass. You're a small streamer? Yeah, you will always be a small streamer, probably, if you cannot create content elsewhere. Because Twitch by itself, yeah, it just doesn't work. You're not gonna get shown to anybody. You're gonna be in the depths of hell because you don't have enough people. So you're not in the high rows of categories or recommendations. Hey, it's this guy.
I call view botting the loser's topic.
How curious. When this guy also has very serious and very plausible view botting accusations. Thankfully, if you reach the top leaderboards on Twitch and have amassed a large audience, you probably don't need to be bot. It's also kinda funny how this guy says this when constantly we see nobodies. Wow, this huge Twitch streamer. Who is this guy or gal? Where did they come from? How did it become huge in like 3 months? This is not a job about the peanuts. It's just about other fleshes. So I don't really like this guy either. and you would watch the content, and it's just so painfully boring. Oh my god. Are you really gonna tell me you have tens of thousands of people watching this? It's as interesting as watching paint dry in some cases. So I think it's clear that some of these rising stars are very obviously industry plants. However, there has been a lot of drama on X recently related to the largest streamers on Twitch and allegedly view-botting. There's also been some stuff with Asmongold. Apparently they're view-botting him against his wishes. He had more than 100,000 CCV at some point. And he was calling them out. Of course he would. He wouldn't want to get banned. Even though these rules are not really enforced, but better play it safe. Asmongold doesn't need view-botting. Not to that degree. The guy's already big. This got me thinking. Is view-botting a legitimate strategy? Do advertisers have any way of tracking botted engagement? And why isn't Twitch cracking down on this at all? Before reading this, because this is actually my first read of this, I'm gonna tell you something. It's a legitimate strategy. It's literal fraud. And why isn't Twitch cracking down on this at all? Because money. Whoa! That does have any way of tracking botted engagement? Maybe, maybe not. I think there are some tools, but they're kinda jank. And it's more likely that you get caught as a bot by just being a lurker, which is pretty bad. Plus, we need to take action. We've been dealing with this issue for a long time now. And I remember reading the article from Rolling Stone where up to 13% of the movement behind the release to Snyder Cut campaign came from botted accounts. Despite being 13% of the movement, they accounted for 50% of the engagement. What did I mean by this? Rolling Stones, I don't think you can mention those stats. Negative Nash also mentioned. Negative Nash has also come under fire lately for botting. On platforms like X, bots tend to leave behind little evidence, no followers, a newly created account, or suspicious comment behavior. That can be used to identify whether the account is real or not. You will also see accounts with the blue checkmark spamming comments that are trying to get that delicious revenue. It's really useful for people who live in countries with bad economies, I suppose. However, this isn't the case with Twitch. Instead of jumping from 3,000 viewers to 50,000 in a matter of minutes, there really isn't a clear way to tell who is botting and who isn't. The only evidence we get as viewers is the live viewer count and the speed of messages in chat. This is actually a really good metric, by the way. You might see really strange jumps in live viewer counts, but they're kind of organic because of ads. I've seen somebody having like 12, 30, maybe 1400 CCB, and then you get an ad break and it goes to like 8 or 900, and then just goes back up again. However, chat activity is a really good metric here. I've seen people having about 100, 200, maybe 300 CCV. In those ranges, having chats being way more active than some people with 10,000 or more CCV, which doesn't make any sense. Sure, if you have a lot of people watching, you'll have a lot of lurkers. Are you gonna tell me you don't have at least 100 active chatters? That sounds really weird. I guess it depends on the content, but that is really strange. Twitch has been dealing with this for years now, but from Devin Nash sums it up well. And he even goes on to say that there is no real downside to botting your stream if you're in top 500 creators. Despite it being a crime, I'm pretty sure, because it's fraud, and this is about advertisers. You will get paid based on the amount of the average CCV you have, and in regards of the amount of time streamed. So, if you normally will have, let's say, I'm just making numbers, 1,000 CCV, but suddenly you bought yourself to 3,000, 2/3 of that is actual fraud. 2/3 of the money you're getting, you shouldn't be getting, because that advertising is not going to real people that can actually buy the product. This becomes even more stupid when you understand and realize that some of these companies that work for you with this other stuff when you're promoting the game and whatnot actually view about you to make the game more appealing or the product more appealing, so more people click on the ad itself, the ad being the stream. It's just really weird. I don't know how to explain this properly. It's really convoluted. Everybody's saying on the view button. It's just an abject disaster. Back in August of last year, with the sick crackdown on bots, and how the trend continues for the foreseeable future. Clearly this is happening again, and bots are finding ways to go undetected. It's kinda getting worse with AI, because they can, I don't want to say emulate active chatters, but they can to some extent. You have, we've seen these accusations before, of strange chatters coming in, copy and pasting all their messages from chat, and suddenly nothing makes any sense. Because if you said something 15 minutes ago, well, we jump to a different topic or something different is happening on the screen. As long as it works for them, they will keep doing it. My belief, echoed by XUC, is that they don't care to enforce this. The more views there are, the more things look for advertisers. Literally what I said before. They will not enforce this because money. That's it. If everyone else is doing it, should you? Well, it depends. Do you have morals? Or do you only care about money? That's pretty much the same question. I will never explicitly say you should bot your views on Twitch, even though you are kinda implying this. Other than the title of this article, but the reality is, if you're not view botting and everyone else is, you're at a disadvantage. When you're competing in category where you're peered, if you don't have 500 plus viewers, maybe shifting your strategy to paying clippers and buying bots helps a streamer break through. It's... I don't think this is a great example. Everybody's cheating, so why shouldn't I? Well, I don't know, man. I do have some sort of morality, even though you might not believe me. I think view-botting is wrong, and I don't think that's the way to actually try to grow yourself. But then again, what do I know? If it works, I guess. Always this really strange, there's a name, I completely forgot it. Happens to me all the time, god damn it, I hate when this happens. Fuck. Kinda pisses me off. It's not feats that I'm looking for. Hold up. I don't even know how to look this up. I forgot. I completely forgot the proper line. But yeah, as long as something works, the people will do that. Or as long as something looks like it works, people will do that. Also, you don't need to buy clippers, you can clip yourself. Whoa, life hack. I know it takes time, but still. And to see what it will cost to buy a stream, and for $180 a week on ViewButter, I can get 1,500 followers, 225 chatters, and 750 concurrent viewers. Not bad for less than 800 a month. And this company accepts crypto payments. Yeah, I don't think that's a really appealing argument if you want to do things right. But then again, people are just here for the money, I guess. And I get it, you can get a lot of money. It makes sense. Have you seen the bigger streamers? Yeah, they make a lot of money. So it's really attractive. It's always the same, right? Does power corrupt? It can corrupt, but it's more than power attracts people with no morals and people that want to use said power. So in this case, maybe not power itself, though you have influence, obviously. But yeah, being able to make a lot of money is going to attract really greedy people with no morals. What a shocker. Is there any way to detect view-botting? From what I've researched about detecting view-botting, even Clancy, the Twitch CEO, has mentioned that detecting bots is a cat-and-mouse game. When allegations start surfacing online, streamers are left to state their case and prove that their audience is real. It's kind of a problem because you don't actually punish the view botters. If you actually did, less people would be bought because you would have actual consequences for your negative actions. Negative actions should have negative consequences. In this case, negative actions only have positive consequences because you don't apply rules evenly, or sometimes you don't even apply rules because it's Switch after all. So, why do you expect things to change? They won't. And if they don't punish view botting, it's actually an indictment of view botting. I mean, it's more money after all. And for brands, they're any way to tell if a streamer or someone else is spotting their viewership. I couldn't find anything legitimate that I would trust. There currently isn't a website out there that can credibly detect bots on Twitch. There are some that work decently. They can give you a pretty good idea of how much is being bottled. They are not perfect, but it's better than nothing. Someone build this and email it to me. Wouldn't this be kinda easy to detect with IP ranges, actually, now that I think about it? Maybe not. Maybe not. That kind of server connectivity stuff is not my forte. So maybe taking out of my ass wouldn't be the first time. The big takeaway. We've entered an era where good content alone isn't enough. Distribution tactics are, when clipping, paid amplification, and even bots can artificially push you up the rankings, the playing field starts to tilt toward whoever's willing to game it. Visual detection tools feel reactive at best, and advertisers don't seem to have a reliable way to verify what's real. But it becomes normalized. Becomes? By your own admission, it is normalized. Creators face a brutal question. Compete clean on risk invisibility, or bend the rules to survive. Long term though, this erodes trust in the entire ecosystem. I mean, I'm seeing your average big content creator. I wouldn't have any sort of trust in most of them at least. That doesn't make any sense to me. Yes, I want to say something else, but it's kind of falling away from my mind for a second. I'm a little bit out of my element today, I don't know why. Let's see, oh, from Stream Charts. At the end of last year, we published our 60-page white paper on the button topic, which includes a number of proven methods for identifying the problem. Take a read here. We'll be happy to chat and help to understand how you can detect suspicious activity. Is this an actual bot? It could be. It gives numbers but doesn't give you support at all. Yeah, but numbers in itself is actually a useful metric. Streaming version of Tears through their arm baseball. It's not the first 2DC mentioning this, but I think it's true. Because having accomplished my goals is more important than hitting those goals. I had to pay for fans of my work. I think that's fair. It also doesn't help that a lot of these platforms have way less skilled people working on them. So even if they try to actually crack down on true modding, I don't think they could actually do it. Because they don't have people that can actually try and attempt to do it. So it's just a disaster no matter how you look at it. I also have here Rossi Belmo mentioning her gripes with this situation. I'm avoiding gripes every time with this conversation. Streamers do it, advertisers do it through streamers. Teachers does it for advertisers. No one is a victim in the scenario. What is making them do this? The viewer, sheeple! Let me explain. That's kind of what I mentioned before. It's just a really stupid thing to do in general. You're just creating fake engagement. All of this, there's 3 here. Create fake engagement. But there's engagement nonetheless, so you can game the system. So that's why people do it. Should people do it? No, it's morally incorrect. And to some extent, some cases, is actual fraud. And I think that, I do believe that's illegal. Guess might depend on the location. Just find the game looks more important when even legitimate high viewership is boosted. Maybe a very big streamer has 2,000 viewers, but 4,000 viewers looks bigger. Bigger numbers good, since many numbers looking in. Hey, it's me complaining upon the normies again. Imagine that keeps happening. So this sponsor gets more sales when more people feel the FOMO of many people playing the game. Maybe you tank bots, but there's more legitimate people playing the game. Think if you hadn't inflated the viewership number. Twitch! They now look like they have more average viewers using the platform. Twitch has separate view count it uses for paid sponsors, so they don't pay for bots. So they're directly lying to you, which is pretty funny. Oh, of course they would, of course. Lying to you, they can do it. Lying to advertisers, well, that's a big problem, right? We wouldn't want to get into legal trouble. More, at least. Want to know when they keep pulling back on redefining viewership? Because it makes the site look dead. And it can't ass, because it can be a little bit real. There's no way some of these streamers have tens or even hundreds of thousands of viewers at the same time when the chat's really moving. We've seen several cases of this. So they need to at least look the part, at least some part of it. You wouldn't want the rivals like Kick or maybe even Rumble coming at your door and eating your ass. Non-consensually. That could be pretty bad for you. Doesn't show how little legitimate people aren't glued to the screen and just lurking for going to see an ad passing by or interact with it. I guess this also kind of explains the current situation with the Twitch ads they want to implement. You have to be tempting, and you cannot have the stream paused, and you cannot have the stream muted. You will watch the ad, and you will be happy, because it makes us money. Will the streamers get that money? Yeah, sure thing, pal. That looks well. Let's make the site look more live to the viewer and advertisers. Streamers, well, they can't prevent if a sponsor or Twitch puts them in game they're playing. As I already mentioned with the Atmon situation, which can be weaponized. I guess that's why they don't really enforce view botting, right? Because it can be weaponized against other streamers, which was kind of what happened to the guy, I assume. But then again, if nobody is getting punished, is it really a crime? I guess not. It only benefits them in the category potentially. Probably not much since there is discoverability on Twitch. I said this was a single word. I guess both can be true at the same time. But the viewer, again, may think they're more worth watching or listening to because big number. Especially if there are chatbots. Not the viewers in the cool club with the biggest streamer on the Dreams Big game everyone's watching. So why do they all do this? The viewer sees more value with these fake numbers in place, for the site as a whole and the games and people they watch. If the viewers didn't have such a cheap mindset, then generally this may not benefit them to do. No one points this out. I find it frustrating. Maybe it enlightens someone. I guess this is true, but only to some extent. Sure, getting more eyes on a product, in this case a game, makes sense. It's advertising, of course. The product appeared to be better. Of course, we will try to boost sales, but sometimes you will have people like Asmongold himself, a very big streamer, also known for playing games, not just for talking about current events. And the guy will play a new game, and the game can be just bad enough that even being shown by Asmongold is not enough to save it. But I guess I understand the strategy. It's just that you need something else, you need something more. Just the ads are clearly not enough. There wasn't the sheer mentality benefit, even having an IMO. It's all making things look cooler than they are, and it still is profitable for everyone involved. Yeah, I can see it. And, of course, I would say the main culprit of all of this would be Twitch themselves. Because of the platform, not only do they allow it, they also do it to some regards. Right? When you tell me they have... Where was it? When you tell me they have a separate view account used for paid sponsors, they are clearly in on the view botting, and they don't care. They actually allow it. So this is just a disaster. So every time they tell you, view botting, the loser's topic. Well, It really isn't. It's a very big problem. And then after that they will move on, well, it's happening, but it's good. What's wrong? Are you too poor to pay for bots? And gotta be real, don't think content creation should be a pay-to-win endeavor. I understand that having resources always helps, but this is, as we've seen here with this metrics, quite literally a pay-to-win endeavor. So I will always appreciate people that want quality over quantity and want to make things right. Maybe that's a bit of a cope. But I want to think I have a little bit of morality still in me. Unlike other people. Pretty rough situation to say the least. What do we have here? Okay, let me close some stuff. Don't think we're going back. So, let's talk a little bit more about ID verification. It's been a really hot topic. So let's get to it. Maybe ID verification is the solution to Twitch bots. I wouldn't know that. A new challenger has appeared. In the link below, you will see the recent company that said this verification was safe, effective, and your data will not be stored. Has not gotten caught with their pants down, allowing more creators to not only read your DMs, but to save them in plain text suddenly onto your PC for any other application with strict permission to see. Which is quite insane to see. And I thought I opened this. I did, but I moved some stuff around. My bad. There we go. Holy shit, so bright. Our creators, Discord SDK, did exposure. Kinda funny. A lot of these topics float around this game. I wonder why. Is this the root of all evil? I guess it could be. Summary. During gameplay of our creators, private Discord direct message, DM, conversations between two users were found being written in plain text to a local game log file. Additionally, a full disrepair authentication token was found stored in the same log file. This is a massive security breach for obvious reasons. I don't think I need to explain it. I think it's pretty obvious by itself. Next findings represent privacy and security violations, and affect all players using Discord integration with the game. Correction. Oh, let's see. I originally reported that the bearer token had the ability to send a message on the user's behalf. This was ignored to my misunderstanding of the permission rpc.voice.write. The permission only allows the token holder to change the user voice settings. It does not allow them to send a message as the user. Okay. I mean, I can't understand the assumption. I would assume literally the same. Cannot blame them. It's been corrected in the article below to give the correct abilities. This message serves as a redirection notice. Okay, so this should be correct. Affected files, log file location. C/users /username /mp data /local /binary games /saved /logs. Log file name discord.log. Discord TK version commit in a bunch of information about the version 1.8.13395. Race summary. Finding. Private DM content written to log file. Critical. All players using Discord. Private token written to log file. Critical. All players using Discord. Friendlies present data logged. High. All players plus the Discord friends. Already brought gateway connection scope. High. All players using Discord. Maybe I'm right about never playing the flavor of the month slot games they keep releasing. Oh, but they are so good! Are they really? I don't think I like instruction shooters. Never play them, I can tell you. That's probably not for me. Description. Private Discord direct messages exchanged between two users were captured by the game's Discord SDK gateway connection and written in full to a plain text log file. Stored locally on the user's machine. Evidence. Message underscore create gateway events appearing in the game log file. Kill type 1 confirmed. This is a private DM channel, not a game or public channel. Messages between users captured in full. Message content, timestamps, user IDs, channel IDs, all logged into plain text. Shouldn't be a big deal because it's in your game files, but if they're being logged, it's for a reason. What the reason is, I don't know. I can tell you it's not gonna be a good one. Obviously not. Why would they do it? Right? It's not for you to have. It's clearly for them to get. Why would they do that? I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to know, actually. But I can only expect mischief from these types. Their friend of Discord is the guy connects using a full user bear token. Opening a complete Discord gateway connection identical to the one used with the Discord desktop app itself. Kinda funny. Discord gateway pushes all events to this connection, including property and messages, rather than filtering insensitive events. The SDK logs everything it receives to disk. Okay. On my hand, I can say, sure, they're incompetent. And they might be incompetent. But, on the other hand, I can ask the average user, why would you use these kind of integrations? You're trusting the company to not screw you over with these privacy concerns, and they can't just do it, as we see here. So maybe having these good integrations is a bad idea, after all, because they can get all of your information. We did have this stuff back in the day, and everything was fine. We had other problems, of course, but still. Impact. Any private conversation received while the game is running is written to disk. While the game is running, not necessarily with the people you're talking to in-game. Not files will include crash reports or bug reports uploads. I say this is more than likely. Not files will be accessible to other applications on the same machine. Plain text, more than likely. Third parties with access to the machine or crash reports can read private conversations. Absolutely correct. This repair token stored in plain text log file. Description. This full disk repair authentication token was found written in plain text inside the game log file. Even the tokens in plain text, that's crazy. It's interesting you find the patience to read through the entire article. Normally if I disagree with someone on something fundamental, I stop reading at that point. I think it's important to understand the full context. I sometimes stretch through everything they talk about and I'm like, wow, this was a waste of time. But far too many times, I've seen articles lying directly to you in the title, or people taking away the incorrect information from the article and running with it. We have a little bit on that after, with that, what's his name again? He's a pretty known actor. Shia LaBeouf, with the, he's homophobic! No, was kind of abused by some people when he was younger. I think that's makes sense that the guy would be wary of people that have similar traits. It has nothing to do with this. Of course, they read the bear here, which is pretty good. The problem is that articles lie mainly because they are incentivized for clickbait, and two, sheer volume of articles and sources sometimes. I mean, yeah, I've also seen, I guess I've seen way too many people running with the wrong information with articles that I find interesting, and I kinda need to correct the situation, despite not being an actual correction, because who the fuck cares what I have to say. I've also complained too much, and something that's been happening a lot recently. There's people sharing old articles, which is not wrong, but when they hide in their screenshots the dates, I think it's done on purpose, and I don't like that. What has been running around on Twitter recently was the, people don't buy a lot of games anymore, and I was like, that sounds only familiar. It's only familiar because I've already read it, because it was from last year. And it's just farming interactions. That's the game they're playing. It's kinda bad. Full token redacted from this report, presented in original log file. God, that's a huge problem here, that's crazy. This bearer token is functionally equivalent to username and password. Anyone in possession of this token can read all your messages and DMs, access your front list, servers and account settings, change voice or discount settings, remain logged in until the password is changed. So they can just take control of your account. I mean, it's equivalent to the username and password. And I thought the app was bad, storing stuff in plain text at the very least. That wasn't in their servers. That's crazy. Stiff the context and cherry-picking articles which accumulate evidence toward biased point of view makes it hard to take opinions seriously. Yeah, it happens a lot. There's also about that, we can jump a little bit with topics here after we finish this. There is a lot of wrong with new articles. They can just hallucinate the articles themselves. Let me finish this and we'll jump to that. I think this is important to get through. It's not long. It's a little bit technical, but still. The log file is ever shared. The about report forum support team. Token is fully exposed. For support systems that automatically upload logs will transmit this token to Ibaraki stereo servers. Malicious software on the same machine could harvest this token from the log file. The reference list present data log. That's kind of crazy. Present update and 3D supplemental. Gateway events containing the online/offline status, activity, and metadata of the user's entire Discord friends list were written to the log file. Okay, multiple events logged for third-party users, 3D and 3D supplemental events containing bulk friend presence data and connection time. It kind of reminds me of the how Facebook works, or used to work. How they can just make ghost profiles of the people you have as your friends or in WhatsApp and all that, and make those connections even if they don't have actual accounts, at least not for everything. That sounds like I'm insane, but it's been talked about for many years. Third-party users who have no relationship with our creators have their Discord present data written to another user's game log file without their knowledge or consent. I mean, yeah, I guess so. This affects people who never agreed to our creators' terms of service. I wonder if they're actually liable for to be sued for this. They probably are. Shows the game integration requires and maintains a full Discord gateway connection using the user's token. Discord's own rich personal SDK. It's intended to only require a limited OAuth scope for game activity display. Using a full gateway connection vastly exceeds what is needed for rich person's functionality. Just for more user data than necessary, but it's a principle of least privilege. Of course, gets a necessary attack surface will find listed above. I wonder if mixing this with Windows 11, their really faulty AI, could be an absolute disaster. Cannot get much worse than what it is already. And the filter the events and authentication events, of course. Never log verb tokens or authentication credentials to any file. And we shouldn't need to say this. Also, never do anything with the tokens as plain text, please. What are you doing? At least a bit of how do we call this again? Just a tiny bit of encryption, right? Even if it's just binary or something like that. At least try it. Oh, is that too much? It could be. Reduce the Discord gateway connection scope to only what rich person requires, yada yada yada. Yeah, they're just asking them to fix their shit, which I think is more than fair. More things to force people to use half-baked techno brews. Yes, it's been happening a lot. I've been complaining about that for several weeks with different topics. We live nowadays in a world where technology is becoming really bloated. I mentioned this at the beginning of the stream because I've been complaining about what appears to be a memory leak on the current version of Google Chrome. I've seen several people, not only me, also my mother, suffering from this, and it seems to be Google Chrome in this case. And back in the day, you could have 8 gigabytes of RAM, and everything would run smoothly. Nowadays, even 16 seems kinda small. And you have a lot of people making technology stuff and they don't know what they're doing. And if you haven't adopted the AI vibe coding, we're about to see big crashes. It's not great. I mean, once again, Windows is a really big example of this. Absolutely on point, probably because that's where the money's chasing largely. Not only that, I would say there's a lot of incompetence. I guess to some regard, maybe also because of money. Getting people that actually know what they're doing, it's gonna be more costly than getting people that know some stuff. It's hard to tell. I do not work at the big tech companies. I wouldn't know. Speaking of really strange tech, I guess this is the best gateway for this. We can run backwards my Windows stuff a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna start with this one. It's actually in the middle, but I think it makes sense. No, not that. Okay, I'm gonna close some stuff here. Share on Microsoft right now. March 3rd, 2026. Windows 12 reportedly set for release this year as a fully modular, subscription-based, AI-focused operating system. It's not real. This was an AI article that other AIs took as fact, and it became a huge AI nonsense snowball in these past couple of days. It's not real, it's not coming. So, maybe that's why I want to read the stuff. I want to kinda, quote-unquote, fact-check everything I see, especially if I find it to be outlandish. When it happens at a certain point of every bubble, sometimes there's enough money to let incompetence flowing in the system for years before it's subject to competition and administration. Yeah, I guess that's a really good point. We also have other similar problems when we talk about incompetence nowadays. Because there's this pretty obvious, it's been pushed for years. I know, if I say this to a normie, I might seem like an absolute lunatic. We've seen for years, even here on a stream, this strange and always pervasive, how do they call this again? The intersectionality for hiring. Just the AI, right? Well, you may get somebody that's good, but why don't you get the minority? Well, sure, they will tell you, nah, you don't understand. It's just to pick the minority when the possible candidates have the same skills or the same traits, but that's literally impossible. That's never going to happen. After seeing it, they might have similar experience and pretty much the same studies. They may have different personal traits, and some of them might be more desirable. That's pretty young, talking about which it was also Women's Day today. Ah, that's on Sunday, isn't it? That's on Sunday, I'm pretty sure. And we've seen many tech companies. Just talking about tech, I could go into airplanes and all that, but that's a different issue. If we talk about tech companies, especially video games, we've seen the past couple between 2 to 4 years. And feminism is a different shade of DEI. It's all encompassing. It's also critical race theory, it's social Marxism, it's a bunch of stuff that actually does the same. But we've seen, since like 2022, maybe even a little bit before that, a lot of layoffs from tech companies, even video games. And you're like, okay, but if we look at the likes of Ubisoft, for example, which is a weird example of a really bad company, you will see they have a huge amount of employees, and they will tell you that most employees don't know anything. Well, that's a big problem. Sure, I understand that you need to have a flow of fresh blood, new employees that you need to train properly. Because, of course, your long-standing workers that know a lot of the work they have to do, they have a lot of experience, they will retire at some point. That's been the case forever. This is the history of jobs. But if you don't have people that understand what they are doing, and you keep putting in people that don't know anything, you will have a failing company. We don't need to look at the shares of I just read the in the chat again, of Ubisoft, to see they're pretty much dead as a company. You can see the quality of the video games. The games are really expensive. I understand, economy nowadays is much more different than 20 years ago, and some things are more expensive. But we also have a huge bloat in these companies because they don't understand how to make good product, because it's not about making good product. It's also really funny, Ubisoft, because it's a French company, I read on stream, this was many months ago, but it was a really interesting article about DEI, and it showed that when they tried to put in some sort of blind hiring for French companies without showing their race, gender, and all that, these companies would hire more men. Why is that? Well, if you see at the skills, they would have either more experience or they would be prone to work more, which is hilarious. I don't remember exactly what happened after that. And you see these companies hiring, especially in France. I don't know why, but I've read many articles about French companies. I guess we're playing Expedition 33, so it's maybe a little bit topical. It was way before the game came out, even. They keep wanting to hire women and minorities because they get benefits from the government. Okay, you get benefits from the government while you're actively killing your company. That doesn't make any sense. That's why we see so many insane layoffs. Oh, this company just laid off 500 people, 1100 people. And I'm like, hold up. Why do they have 1100 people? And then you see some of these companies talking about this, and then you understand, oh, I get it. Instead of getting an actual engineer with experience, a senior engineer or a senior developer to do, let's say, a piece of work, a complete piece of work, they get 3 people that know a little bit to try and make that piece of work. But they're not skilled enough. It's not about... I guess it's kind of a typical joke, now that I think about it. This was told to me when we started working. A pregnant woman can deliver a baby in 9 months. Therefore, 9 women can deliver a baby in 1 month. They're trying to do the same thing here. Of course it doesn't work. You can just keep throwing low-skilled employees at a task, but if the task is too high-skilled, they will never pass the check. So they will fail. That's why we see nowadays so many video games being so low quality. Wow, what do you mean this game has more than 10 years? It looks so good. Wow, it runs well. Wow, the requirements are actually really tame. What happened? What happened? That happened. I don't know how I got into this tangent, actually. We're talking about a little bit of everything, I guess. Ah, DEI. The bane of my existence. But I guess it's not really surprising something like this happening, especially nowadays with the advent of AI. It's gonna get worse. I criticized Windows a lot, and I guess we can go through my Windows ranting for the day. Because aside from this... Yeah, they're screenshotting the articles and whatnot. Yeah, no, this one is fake. I don't think it could happen. Make no mistake about that. But this is, right now, completely fake. But we have, for example, speaking of Windows, Windows 11 is deleting the internet for some users. It has debugging deleters 25H2 and 24H2 upgrades swapping critical network files, leaving PCs completely unable to connect via Ethernet. Which is probably one of the most basic connections you can have to the internet. It's what's happening and how to fix it. Well, the best fix for this, just don't have Windows 11. Windows 11 is so bad that we're seeing an uptake of people going back to Windows 10. I didn't save that tweet, which is a bit of a shame. I found out the other day while having dinner on my phone. But there are some Steam charts apparently. It's not surprising. Every time I see something about Windows 11, I'm like, but how did that happen? It's so stupid. We can check the dissolution here, just out of curiosity. I'm a little bit of a nerd, did you know that? The culprit, the .3 SBC folder. The service manages 802.1 ACE authentication for wireless connections. During the update, Windows reportedly wiping default contents. Result? Your PC can't authenticate. Authentication equals no internet. Also, no connection to actual Copilot, I believe, which is kinda funny. I never upgraded, so I never know. The first update was shit, and I'm glad my system was compatible to begin with. You're really lucky, I never updated either. There is, if you're interested, I think I saved the link somewhere. but there is an extended security update version of Windows 11 that can have some more security for like 6 more years, 5-6 more years. So that's nice. I was planning on doing that, I actually never did. I probably should at some point. But at this point, even with no security updates, Windows 10 is way better. There's no reason to go to 11. And every time I see people updating 11, they have a lot of trouble. One of the recent ones that's not just this disaster was some strange of AI option to fix audio stuff, but it actually doesn't work really well, so it actually borks your audio settings. Been happening to some streamers apparently, or content creators in general. Doesn't just happen in the new 25H2 build. Reports show it's been plaguing users since the 23H2 and 24H2 releases. Ironically, Microsoft's push for always-on connectivity is being broken by its own installer. Karma. Microsoft hasn't officially listed this in the health dashboard yet. Some recent patches claim to address it. If you're playing an upgrade, bookmark this fix first. Full details. Are you gonna access this without the internet? Through the phone, I am assuming. It's really funny. More stuff about Windows. I guess this is a good comparison of old versus new. Windows 11 is such a massive downgrade from Windows 7 that it's not even funny. They fought their entire UI design team and replaced it with DI hires. Hey, speaking of DI, the only reason they were still able to sell us this bullshit is because we continue to tolerate it. Fuck Microsoft. And you can just see the icons, and the Windows 11 just looks so bad. It looks so bad. I understand that I'm not a graphic designer, even though I had to do icons for clients before. I did my best. Okay, I did my best. I told them, it's gonna look like shit. I will do what I can. It was okay. It was okay. I learned a lot about graphic stuff since then too. Thanks to making YouTube thumbnails, by the way. Imagine that. But it's so simple, it looks so soulless, and I guess it kinda makes sense. And there was a reply, I think it was the first reply here. Didn't even understand what the control panel icon was trying to convey, and tried to turn it into a circle-looking thing. And the OP is just laughing. She kinda is. It's supposed to be like different gauges for different settings. Here's just something. It's something I quite don't understand about. I would say technology, but it's not only technology. It's just modernity. I would call it the modern day brutalism. It is brutalism. You see these icons. Wow, what is going on here? Especially this videos one. My goodness. The left, it has actual balloons and whatnot. The right. Hey, don't you like minimalistic design? Not really, not a big fan. But you also see this on websites. Oh my god, everything has to be round nowadays. Oh, it looks so futuristic, it looks like fucking shit, pal. What can you say? Some round buttons, I guess it's okay. Where's the edge? No edge allowed, you might get banned. But it's insane how we can see that in TV shows even. Which one was it that released recently? There was a Star Trek show, I think, that released recently. That I've seen some clips. I think it was the trailer. I've never watched Star Trek. I'm not a fan. It looks like shit. It looks just like an amateur production. It looks homemade. It looks so plastic. It's literally the same complaints I had of the Rings of Power. Rings, rings, give me all the rings. For legal reasons, I cannot sing the full song. I'm not black enough, please understand. I could be one of those white demons and you wouldn't know. It just looks really low quality, really cheap, really plastic, but not even the good plastic. The really flimsy plastic that comes as a package for your really cheap peripherals, I guess. It's really, and you can even see that in buildings. I saw a tweet recently too that mentioned something along these lines. I think it was, I want to say Moldova, but I'm not sure. That showed buildings from, was it the 90s or the 2000s? And they look normal buildings with some decoration outside. It was nice. And then they showed the same buildings nowadays. They're just blocks. Is this just Minecraft? I guess we can have something better than just blocks, man. It shouldn't be this fucking deep. Everything's just lowering in quality in that regard. It feels really bad. What can you say? And it might seem that I'm connecting a lot of things that are completely disconnected, but I don't think I am. That says a lot about culture, actually. It shows a complete degeneration in culture. Remember, an evolution doesn't mean an upgrade. People are gonna be shitting on me when they finally understand where I got the line from. But that's even funnier if they don't understand. So there's no wonder everything looks like shit when the culture is just shit. And we can see this once again in movies, not just because of their looks, but because of their content. What actual good movies have we seen in, I don't know, the past 20 years? Not a whole lot. But before that we had good movies left and right. The same with video games. Video games took a little bit longer to become shit, thanks to the Far East still making, in general, decent games, though some companies fell kinda fast. I'm looking at you, Square Enix. But that might be for completely different reasons. That's not cultural. Companies can't just be failing for different reasons after all. And even music, god damn it, I understand I have a really specific taste in music. It's incomprehensible for most people. If I told you it's even more niche probably than Mongolian throat singing, if you've been here before, you probably believe me, but if you haven't, you probably won't. But new music just, I don't know, it sounds so samey, it sounds so boring. I don't understand why people like it. Are you a boomer? Well, yes. Not an actual boomer, I'm not 60 or anything like that, yet. But I've always felt kinda old. I've watched that one famous Mongolian guy. To be fair, what's their name? The Who? They're actually really cool Mongolian band. I've listened to a couple of their songs. They're actually cool. But yeah, it's also kinda funny. Because I don't think this to shit on English-speaking music. Which, there's a lot of hit or miss, obviously. I've seen some decent newer bands. I appreciate a lot Beast in Black, for example. They are from a bunch of different European countries. They used to be they're power metal, I mean, of course. They're a little bit more glam nowadays, a little bit more electric, a little bit more Eurobeat even. I don't necessarily vibe a lot with those songs. I like metal, it's good. I like Eurobeat, it's good. Mixing them, I don't think it's an improvement. But some of their songs are absolutely insanely good. Of the newer bands that I found, probably my favorite. But when I see people from my country making music, I'm like, isn't it a problem that I don't understand the language they're speaking? When I speak several languages, and apparently it's just the main language from here, and I'm like, but they are literate. They're just illiterate. They don't know how to speak. And it's really the culture we want to keep for younger people. I don't think so. What a strange tangent. I guess it's fine. I guess it's fine. Today is not just 2 hours of yapping after all. We can go longer. Even longer. Oh boy. Kinda dislike when I see shit like this. Because it reminds me a lot of things I quite dislike of modern society. I guess more of this on Saturday. Despite it being birthday stream and I kinda want to chill, I've been really introspective for a couple of weeks, and I need to let everything out, just for peace of mind, just to not keep spinning it in my brain. I'm gonna get sick if I do that. Actually sick. What do we have here with Microsoft? I guess this is pretty interesting. Similar to Sony to some extent. Microsoft patents reveal AI systems to play games and unlock Xbox achievements for you. Another AI that will play for you. Why play games? Well, I don't fucking know. The games are ass, and they play themselves. Guys, we've solved gaming. Can we go back to the 90s? Oh, but there's so many other games I still need to play. Yes, we need to calibrate your thoughts and ideas with the external world. Yeah, I think verbalizing stuff is really important. I actually talk to myself a lot. I think it's really important to do it if you keep thinking about the stuff. Usually by verbalizing stuff, sometimes I realize, oh, this is the only solution. I had to say this out loud. It happened on the stream sometimes too, I think. How do I do this? Oh yeah, this is the solution. What am I saying? What am I thinking? Neil uncovered patents reveal that Microsoft has been working on AI-powered Xbox game assistant that can play games and unlock achievements for players. My goodness. If this is like Sony's, it will have a special chip and I'm assuming allocated RAM and all that just for the AI computing. So I'm assuming the next iteration of the game system is gonna be really expensive just because of that. And I don't think it's gonna be that powerful in comparison. I guess we're reaching the new gaming crash more than what we've seen. Speaking of gaming crashes. Faster or later. As we wait to find out about the future of Xbox under its new CEO, Asha Sharma, patents have been uncovered for an AI helper that can play Xbox games for you. Let other players remotely control your game and even unlock achievements for you. Other players? Oh, big brother, please, I cannot defeat this enemy. Fuck you, pal. Look, there has to be a balance, right? Between the game just finishing itself and having people just telling you to fuck off, like the Dark Souls fandom. There has to be like a caveat somewhere. Everyone, then good luck with the rest of your adventures. Okay, thank you for coming, bastard. I appreciate it. There has to be like an in-between somewhere. It has to be. This is really strange. While we are yet to get an official word on the next-gen Xbox consoles, the independent patents might give us a hint at some of the technology Microsoft might be using. It looks like Team Green. As we've seen, the green color is always a red flag. Make of that what you will. Has been done with a new cloud-based gameplay, a system to help you work on difficult sections in games. The patents were first filed in 2024, and they were made public on February 12, 2026. Between those two dates, there's a chance the projects have already been shelved. I guess there's a possibility, but it's Microsoft and they're going in, all in with AI. So I don't know about that. Also, once again, mimics Sony's patents, so I'm assuming they're gonna work on that a little bit on the back. And if Sony releases it, they will release their version too, just as a rival. Still, according to the patents, put by Take4Gamers, Microsoft feels that I think we don't need to that here, right? This is sometimes correct, but I don't think it's correct here. That D? Dun dun do! Speaking of old memes, Microsoft feels that the current ways of seeking help for difficult gaming situations, such as watching YouTube videos or meeting players on forums, is rather rudimentary, and as such, has been exploring new systems that help you without you having to leave your game. I don't think that's fair. Actually, if I'm watching a guide, a video guide in this case, if I said watching, or if I'm reading a guide or looking for maps and all that, it's still me engaging with the game. But it's clear I missed something somewhere. I'm like, okay, people keep mentioning this item in this location, but I didn't find it. Where is it? Oh, breakable wall, for example, right? Classic Castlevania trope. But you go there and you engage with the game with the new information. Here, you're delegating your engagement to either the AI or another player. If you're telling me it's just an AI on the side to look up the information for you, it'd be better. I don't know how to feel about it fully, but it would be better. Similar to, I guess it was actually Copilot, helping people play Minecraft. I do enjoy wiki diving, to be fair, but I do enjoy finding new information. I understand that's not for everybody, especially not younger people. How many times they had to mention people saying, "Oh, but you need to grind in Pokemon Gen 1." What do you mean? You just need to fight the trainers, it's that easy. That's been living rent-free in my mind for a couple of days. Adds the juxtaposition between newer players and older players, I guess. That's actually a pretty interesting topic for a video at some point. Might do that. Actually, let me make note of that. I haven't made actual videos in a while. I've been kind of busy with other stuff. That's lyrics. That's all my switching to the notes. That's clip stuff. I don't remember. I'm gonna put it on the clip stuff at the bottom, below my Planet Shadow information. New players versus all players, and I kinda give my view of this because I understand that I've changed how I play games a lot from when I was young to nowadays. Not necessarily for the best, actually. It really depends. I understand it's also really different when you play games on stream. I'm really achievement oriented to some extent. I want to progress in the game, so just fucking around, smelling the flowers and all that. I try to avoid to some extent, though I don't think it's bad doing so. It's just, I guess, my own version of the content brain. I guess I need to play some actually chill games from time to time, just to avoid that train of thought. Even with Pal World, that happening. What about Pokopia? I'm not buying a Switch 2 in that game, I'm sorry. I don't think it's bad, I just think it's too expensive. Can't justify that kind of spending. Better describe a cloud-based system that lets AI or gaming systems temporarily take control of your game on Xbox. The system could then guide you through the difficult area, allocate a missing collectible, while you still have the ability to take back full control at any time. See, it's not just information, it's still delegating the engagement, which I'm not a big fan of. Microsoft uses recent games as an example in one case, suggesting that a system could control your game to navigate the track you're struggling with before handing the game back to the player as soon as they are finished. I don't think that's actually useful, actually. Especially when we're talking about racing games. I think watching videos from people that actually know and they have the control inputs on the screen would be far more useful for you. Because you would see what they do, how they play, and how to execute those maneuvers, instead of the game doing everything on its own. Then again, this is tech nowadays. Everything will work on its own. Well, I don't like that. Because it's more restrictive, actually. I want to know more, I want more knowledge, I want more skills. Why? Because, well, I think it's fun, but I also think it's useful. Would you rather speak 2 or 3 languages? Why not 5? Well, it takes time. I guess I can appreciate actual machine translation from time to time too. There is levels in acquisition of skills too. As I said before, if it was for me, I would have literally all the skills in the world. As you see me play video games, I'm the completionist. Usually. I don't have infinite time to do so, or infinite brain capacity to do so, so I need to pick and choose. But then again, if you like video games, wouldn't you want to know about the video games you play? I think that makes sense. Interestingly, with the patterns also details some of the ways Microsoft could handle achievements unlocked with the Game Assistant. The company noted that achievement images could include text or adjustments to the color or transparency to show that the Game Assistant was used when unlocking it. A similar strategy could be used for players who are doing the existing and who unlock an achievement. This was solved already by root achievements. You can play in 2 ways. Hardcore, with no lowering the speed of the emulation and no save states, obviously not cheats. And softcore, which allows the use of those mechanics, I suppose. Of course, hardcore are more valued. I don't know exactly how it works. I think you get more points for the website. Make it that what you will. I think you need to complete the games in hardcore for it to actually count in the leaderboard. leaderboard. Leaderboard would be different. So it kinda makes sense. I mean, there are achievements. You need to achieve them yourself, right? If the game plays itself, what are you doing? I also discuss ways to alter the gamer score values for certain logs, suggesting a 0.5 multiplier that could see a 10G achievement for be worth just 5G. I'm assuming TGs are the points. If using assistant, whereas if you're helping someone as the assistant, the same achievement could potentially be worth 15G for you. They could give you a special badge if you assist with people, and that's it. People love badges, dude. Have you seen Steam? Come on. People love their bling. That would be a pretty useful bling, if anything. It's an interesting system, but one that has no guarantee of making it into the platform as a real-world feature. Still, we'd love to know your thoughts on this. It'll be something you will use in some of the best Xbox games. For real? I already finished Forza Motorsport. Finally, I can finish. That's Dead or Alive 4, right? It looked like an IGN playthrough. Lamau, got him. I bet Jordan's love this one, huh? That's crazy. I guess we can correct a little bit. It's not really correct. I guess it can is to some extent. We've criticized Windows a lot recently, especially with this new surprise mechanics of age verification, which, as you might expect, I'm not a big fan of. If you're a shit parent, that's on you, pal, that's not on me. Apparently, after that California bill, shit has been going down and it's not looking good. So we have here... It's a bit laggy still, god damn it. Ubuntu Fedora Linux Mint I age verification amid California law backlash. It's not confirmed yet, but they're eyeing it. I don't know if they're gonna mention their... how's it called? Their licensing here. But I've read a little bit about it, so I will mention that at the end, if it's not mentioned. Because I think it's actually really important, because you cannot actually have both. The upcoming law mandates that OS providers and application developers implement age verification measures to protect minors online. The Digital Age Assurance Act law in California, US, effective January 1st, 2025. 7. I keep wanting to read that as a 5 instead of a 7. 5-7. Is that a new meme now? God damn it. It's not on purpose. I guess I choke sometimes with numbers. ESL, please understand. Requires operating systems to ask users to input their birth date during the initial setup to follow child privacy rules. The becoming law mandates that OS providers and application developers implement age verification measures to protect minors online, which includes collecting age information during account setup and providing age bracket signals to the apps when apps are downloaded. Once again, need to mention account setup for the OS. It's laughable because it's just new technology for Windows. So I don't know, man. It feels a little bit silly. What can you say? Earlier this week, Ubuntu developer Aaron Rainbow, what a cool name, proposed on the Ubuntu mailing list an optional dbus interface, org.freedesktop.hverification1, that can be implemented by arbitrary applications as the distro sees fit. But Canonical responded today that the company does not yet have a solution to announce for each declaration in Ubuntu. Canonical is aware of the legislation and is reviewing it internally with legal counsel, but there are currently no concrete plans on how or even whether Ubuntu will change in response, said John Seeger, VP Engineering at Canonical. The recent mailing list post is an informal conversation among Ubuntu community members, not an announcement, but the discussion contains potentially useful ideas not having been adopted or committed to by Canonical. Which, it's a really strange situation to be in, and if they are really fast, they're gonna make a big mistake. We know that. Similar talks are underway in the Fedora and Linux Mint communities about implementing similar features in upcoming releases of the distributions to address the California law. Upcoming releases? What about using another release? You're kinda free, there are other distros, I suppose, that probably won't add this verification at all. It's a really complex matter that you cannot just deal with or contend with such a simple law like this California law. it's gonna blow up in their faces. At the same time, other OS developers like Midnight BSD have declared to exclude California from desktop use entirely. I think you can just use a VPN and set up with whatever distro you want. Shouldn't be that difficult. Of course, this is not only what Ubuntu, Fedora, or Linux Mint, as it will apply to all GNU/Linux distributions, desktop environments, and application hubs like FlatHub or Snap Store, which will have to comply with the upcoming law in the near future in some way. Especially since similar laws have already been proposed in other US states, including New York and Colorado. Oh, spoiler! Spoiler! The New York law is actually new. A new law for New York. And that's also in a tweet. We have to keep in mind that this is becoming a global standard, not just in California or the United States, as the Digital Services Act is already in full effect across the EU as of February 2024 for all digital services to ensure high levels of privacy, safety, and security for minors, with new guidelines added in late 2025 that mandate robust age verification for certain services. Once again, I need to mention, the governments of the world are compromised by people that are really old. And this is not just because they're really old, it's also a feature of the government. They don't understand anything about tech. And this shows here exactly what I mean. Oh, you have to add age verification to the OS, okay. What if I decided, for my servers, for example, I don't have any, but this is an obvious example. Other people use Ubuntu for this, because it's really useful. What if I went back and decided, you know what, since Ubuntu is forcing me to update, which I don't think they can, but we're just making up a scenario here. Since I'm using Ubuntu, I meant to use some sort of age verification, but I don't want to do it, because why would I? What if I change the servers into Windows 95? There are servers in Windows 95 nowadays still. Are the guys at Microsoft going back to add age verification to a 30-year-old operative system? I don't think they can, even if they wanted to. It's too late. We had this technology for far too long. You cannot just hide this anymore. It's too late. I have seen everything, father. Also, what will happen if you decide to make your own operative system? I guess Temple OS is a good example of this, even though I don't really know too much about it. What is gonna happen? It's way too late. That's like trying to uninvent the gun. It's not going to work. I'm sorry. One would expect the open source community wrapped in criticism of risks like apps interfering cyber dates, enabling government surveillance, a profound and dangerous step toward a society in which anonymity in public life becomes a relic of the past. I didn't even mention it here. What a shame. I would expect them from 9 to 5 Linux to mention something like that, but maybe it's just implied. Maybe you are meant to come here after reading the actual conversation. What's going on here with open source, for people that may or may not know, is that the open source licensing has the caveat that says you can put in or put out any line of code that you want. Of course, that would include the one with age verification. So you can either be compliant with the law, or you can be open source. You cannot have both, because when you mandate a specific line of code, it stops being open source. And if you want it to keep being open source, you can just take the code out. You cannot have both. Mutually exclusive in this case, which I think is really interesting and also pretty important too. Once again, even if they forced every single distro to have age verification as something you can take out, you can just go back to an older OS and there's nothing they can do about. Which I will always find hilarious. The cat is out of the bag. It's too late, father, I have seen everything. Oh boy. So speaking of age verification, we have here some more stuff. We can close this one. I guess this is kinda up to date. This is from yesterday. Here's where each of the all operating systems must do age verification laws are as of today. Brazil, signed into law, requirements taking effect on March 17th, 2026. That's in 2 weeks, by the way. Good luck with that. California, signed into law, requirements taking effect January 1st, 2027. Colorado, passed Senate on March 3rd, 2026. New York, in Senate Committee. Now, as of today, March 4th, operating systems developers have only 13 days remaining before the Brazilian law takes effect. Related, in order to incentivize age verification, the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, has announced that they will ignore COPPA violations for software performing age verification. Okay, I didn't read this before. That's on me, I just saw the list. So, you can just ignore the child protection law. Sometimes. That's hilarious. That's so ridiculous. How the fuck did you do that, dude? Oh my god. What a fucking disaster. What's going on here? So in order to protect children, they're going to allow companies to violate the law that was specifically written to protect children. Make it make sense. Once again, all of these laws only protect those who live in them. And not even that, actually. It's way worse than that. My goodness. This is awful. What do they have here? Yeah, I guess this makes sense. It's also related. Social media bans creates new online dangers for teens. I guess this key is from the Australian ban, but I will tell you it's not only. I don't know if they're gonna mention here the hackings for for minors. Apparently, there's been leaks of 1 billion internet users as their information goes. That's crazy. That's insane. Holy shit, dude. Lawmakers around the world, including the US. Okay, can we stop for a second here? 7.8 out of 10. Too much water. Might happen again with the new Pokemon games. That was kind of a really strange gimmick. But the sound was really nice. Holy shit. I appreciate it a lot. Speaking of water, let me take a sip. I appreciate the Dia music a lot. I think it's really nice. Lawmakers around the world, including the US, are recently ban minors from social media, which effectively mandates that the services check IDs before any person can use their service. Papers, please. While the use of this blunt instrument is usually well intentioned, it will make the internet more dangerous, especially for teens. In open letters on yesterday, 405 cyber security and privacy experts from 30 countries worldwide warned that mandating age verification breaks the internet security model by creating centralized databases of sensitive identity information. These databases will become prime targets for hackers. Yeah, I think we mentioned this before, right? With the OPSEC stuff and all that. I often criticize younger people. I understand that I criticize them because they're not as experienced as I am. I mean, I've been on the internet far long they have been alive. I'm an elder, and I haven't been on the internet for, I don't know, 40 years. Closer to 20. But I can still teach people a lot of things. So, of course, you need to be wary with the kind of information you share online. Not just on social media, even though social media is pretty obvious. Images, information, phone numbers, really careful who you give your phone number to. Also, I think there was a case recently about a guy that got killed just because of something like that, right? Or kidnapped? I'm not sure, I think I saw a couple of tweets, but I didn't read the story. Because he was like in, how do you call this? Witness protection? Something like that. I don't think it was quite witness protection, but something along those lines. And the girlfriend was sharing pictures of themselves during their vacation, and they were uploaded while they were still there. You know what happens? They're gonna get your ass. And that would happen to you in real life. For no reason whatsoever, because there are really strange people out there, after all. Thing is, if you give your personal data, your ID, on the internet, even if it's just to a platform, like let's say Discord or YouTube or Twitter, the information is there. The best protection is for the information to never leave you. I guess that's my lesson with all of this. Of course, they want more control, so something like this is not surprising, not for me. The problem is not hypothetical. It is not. It never is hypothetical. We already saw this. Once again, it's always the same example, but this already happened with the... what's the name? Digital ID in the UK. Before releasing to the public, already hacked. Released to the public, hacked in less than a week. You think this is not gonna happen again with features like this one? Come on, pal. Come on. A hack of a major third-party issue verification firm used for compliance with the UK and insurance laws in 2025 exposed the government IDs of around 70,000 users. Similarly, the app we mentioned faced a large breach of their identity verification system, including 72 images, 13,000 selfies, and photo IDs, and 59,000 images from app parts and direct messages. In 2025, the Identity Theft Resource Center found that the number of data compromised has jumped 79% over the past 5 years. 79% in 5 years. COVID was a disaster. A lot of people that are just a bunch of giganormies got into the internet and they thought they understood the internet. Now, this is like a different planet, guy. And I had to tell you this. Went through research from Javelin Strategy, 1 in every 8 children has their identity stolen before turning 18. And you think that's not gonna happen again? Or be even worse with all of these ID vaults of sorts. Foreign users to hand over sensitive ID information essentially creates a honeypot of data for hackers and predators to exploit, which will magnify these numbers. Indeed, Catherine and Johnny Edwarton sums it well. I need to blow my nose, give me a second. It's getting cold here in the shows. Much better. Oh shit, fuck. I misclicked. And I opened up Discord. Whoops, give me a second. It opens so I can close it back up. Hold up. Is there something important? Ah! Okay, so this did already. Hold up. Okay, I'm gonna close this for now. At the heart of the issue is there is fundamentally no tool that can verify a user's age without inherently violating a user's privacy. Any accurate models require extremely invasive measures like biometrics or government IDs. And biometrics, like face scans, they do not work. They just do not work. We've seen this already with the rollout of the, was it the OSA in the UK regarding Discord. Wow, look at me, I'm like 25, but Discord said I'm a minor, so I'm fucked. You know that different people had different looks? Whoa, crazy. And these are something that even social media companies are hesitant to request because of the ID gap, in which 50 million Americans lack an identification. I'm not American. Isn't this a little bit strange? That you can have millions of Americans lacking any identification. That's insane to me. That wouldn't fly here. You need an actual ID. Actually, if you have to identify yourself because you're talking to the police or whatever, and you don't have the ID yourself, you are probably getting fined. Which I think may be excessive, depending on the situation. But you must have an ID. I think I start to understand a lot of American problems nowadays. The more you know. To provide lawmakers with the solutions, NetChoice created our Digital Safety Shield for America, a constitutional policy framework that focuses on empowering families. Instead of effectively mandating services collecting massive datasets of sensitive information, Night Chase's digital safety shield prioritizes funding for and coordination of law enforcement to catch predators and investing in digital education so young Americans can navigate the web safely. Yes, can you go for the actual criminals? Hot take! Crime bad! There's also parents. We cannot blame parents enough in this case. Oh, but if something bad happens, are you gonna blame the parents? I mean, yes. Why are the kids accessing the internet with no control? That doesn't make any sense to me. And it doesn't make any sense, obviously not. And I don't think this is a lack of knowledge from the parents. Because some of the incidents we've seen, I suppose, recently, pertain to really young people, young teenagers. You would assume their parents are about between 40 and 50 nowadays. You would expect people in their 40s to understand a bit of the internet, right? Maybe that's just me, maybe that's because I understand the dangers of the internet. But if you know that your kid is being cyberbullied, why do you give them access to the internet with no control still? Why do you not get involved? It's really strange. I just see a huge apathy problem from parents nowadays. They don't care about the things that are actually important. And sure, I understand that back in the day parents were a little bit lax. And sure, you can be outside the home playing and all that. But they would get involved when something actually happened. Not even nowadays. I guess they may be a little bit too lazy, I don't know. Also encourages education in existing robust parental control tools already built into devices, ISPs, games, and apps that allow parents to manage screen time and content without handing their teens' private data over to every website they visit. I think that's also positive, more positive than ID verification for sure. By shifting the focus from blanket bans to targeted enforcement and parental education, we can create a safer internet that preserves online privacy and respects the fundamental rights of all Americans. Education empowerment, not bias and stimulated surveillance, are the keys to a healthier digital environment. I keep mentioning Americans, of course this has to be American thing, but there are different caveats with this. Because you're gonna end up in an international situation here really fast. Of course, you can access pretty much every website from every location. We're completely ignoring China's firewall, and that's completely different. And you can connect to American website, Twitter/X, from Europe, from Asia, from Africa, from South America, from Australia, from a bunch of different places. So now the problem becomes more convoluted. Not just because you're vulnerating your own people, but you're vulnerating people from outside that have different IDs and might have different laws for data protection. I clang all the time on data protection laws from the EU because at the end of the day they're pretty much just jank that doesn't even work. But this would be potentially a big problem with those laws. I mean, if they can ignore COPA, I guess they can just ignore everything. So we're just playing pretend with laws at the end of the day. I just don't understand. I'm speaking nonsense because the laws are nonsense themselves. Am I getting insane? I'm not insane enough. Now people will understand why I'm saying I'm a barbarian in real life. Fighter, wizard, now I just go into a blind rage. Social media bans are not the catch-all solution their proponents claim to them to be. They're a privacy nightmare, essentially requiring users to prove their identities creates a digital roadmap for predators and identity thieves to steal the sensitive information, as we've seen already. We must stop treating children as subjects in a massive and controlled experiment in government overreach. They are not subjects, they are the excuse. The pretext, if you want. Sure, but that's pretty accurate. They had the mention of the New York law here. Looks like New York is the next state to go for digital age verification at OS level. Very impressive how coordinated this push is. I mean, you could coordinate it. I think it's pretty obvious that's what they want. It's not random, that's what I'm trying to say. It's not random at all. It's the technocrats, the globalists. It's redacted. Speaking of which, I found this to be really funny. This is somewhat new, but we don't need to go through this article because this is just bullshit. They're not lying to you directly. I would say it's a lie by omission. EU's chat control has failed to pass, for now. But the fight isn't over yet. Everyone in the EU should contact their MEPs now. Setback for the Commission, EU MEPs, and chat control fail. Surprising turn of events in the EU Parliament. The lead Interior Committee refuses to extend the voluntary mass surveillance of private chats again. It doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter. There's not passed EU-wide because all of these measures are being passed country by country. Sure, we will not require ID verification EU-wide, but then you have France saying we need ID verification. You have the UK, well sure, they are not in the EU anymore, but still. Now we need ID verification and digital ID. You have Spain saying, oh wow, now we want ID verification. You have Portugal saying, wow, now we want ID verification. I'm pretty sure Germany is also going for the ID verification route. You have Poland just announced the end of internet anonymity. Following Portugal and France, Poland is now planning to ban social media for anyone under 15. Everyone else will have to prove their age with an ID, which in practice means the death of online anonymity. They keep passing them country by country. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The EU, once again, is just a fucking joke. Not great. I guess they also have this. I think this is kinda long. Do I want to read through this? Ah, it's not long. I thought it was worse. So we have here from the European clowns. We'll launch our special panel on child safety online. We're working with experts to create a strong European approach to protect young people. Young children made sense. My bad. We will hold tech platforms responsible and explore harmonized age limits for social media in the EU. I think we need to add an upper limit for these boomers too. Link to Europe. That's so cool. It's the same link, I'm pretty sure. Commission holds first meeting of a special panel on child safety online. I'm gonna go into the roofs like a madman. I don't know if it's gonna be like Batman, Superman, even King Kong, and I'm gonna be screaming, "Where are the parents? Where are the parents?" It's insanity. Today, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, a wretched witch, as the first meeting of the special panel on child safety online. The panel, announced in the 2025 State of the Union address, will provide expert recommendations to better protect and empower children online. Expert recommendations. Protect and empower children online. What about protect and empower children in real life? That's a bigger problem, especially in Europe, come on. And we'll explore the need... Yeah, that's correct. And we'll explore the need for potential harmonized age restrictions to access social media. President Ursula von der Leyen said, for decades we've made the real world safer for children, and we must do the same in the digital world. It's a speed of hatred and lies! What about the gang rapes in London, pal? Oh, that's not the EU. What about Germany? What about France? We don't talk enough about France. We know that France is fucked, but we don't talk about how France was already fucked beyond fixing 15 years ago. Oh, we're fixing it. Get the fuck out of here. God damn it. The positive opportunities that technology offers can come at the cost of their safety, health, or happiness. What about the privacy? In Europe, tech platforms already have the responsibility to ensure the safety of users, and we will continue to ensure they do so. But we must also do more to protect and empower our young people online. Fuck young people online! Let me carry a fucking sword! Not even a guy, I'd be content with just a sword. Hey, I'm a nerd, what can you say? The longsword, the weapon of the hero. That is why I have convened this panel to forge a strong, realistic European approach to keep our children safe in the digital age. Realistic, by the way. You know, they love having their own forts. I think this yapping session on Thursday is getting a little bit wild. I'm far more energetic than on Saturdays. Maybe this was actually a good idea after all. I'm having fun, actually. Despite the insanity. The panel is co-chaired by Mario Melchior. Where's Gaspar? Director of the French National Institute of Health and Medical Research, INSERM, and Professor Dr. Jorg M. Fegert. Hey, my name is Jorg. I'm assuming this is at least German, if not Norse. They have really funny names. Director of the Department for Child and Adolescent Psychiatry and Psychotherapy at Old University Medical Center. Different panel meetings will include youth representatives alongside the specialists from various fields, such as health, computer science, child rights, and digital literacy. Child rights and digital literacy? Sure thing, I just don't believe you. What about the right to privacy? Maybe not that one. The Desert meeting examined the current evidence related to the risks and benefits from children's use of social media and other online activities such as gaming, messaging apps, or artificial intelligence. I'm the first guy to say, I shouldn't be forced to see opinions from young people, when I say young people in this case I mean minors, on social media, especially about politics. But this is a parenting issue, not a law issue, it's the parents. If I had a kid, and the kid was 14, I'd be worried if the kid was permanently online, talking about politics. I'd be like, why are you not playing Pokopia? Maybe we wouldn't have enough money to buy the game either. I wouldn't know. I mean, kids are expensive, that's what I mean. The participants focus on the responsibility of tech companies, and discussions revolved around several points, including age-appropriate safety by design, addictive features and algorithms, as well as digital literacy for children, their parents, and teachers. Participants also discussed existing measures taken within the EU and in third countries. The problem with this is that it's too all-encompassing. Sure, there are many issues with technology, but technology is so broad, especially nowadays. I mean, you're mixing here social media with games, with messages, with AI. You're mixing here the addictive algorithms and features. So you're trying to fix everything with a single cannon shot. So the single cannon shot is gonna kill a lot of people that have nothing to do with it. Metaphorically speaking, of course. Not a big fan, that's for sure. Participants also discussed existing measures taking... Yeah, we saw that. This panel meetings will consider the advantages for minors in accessing online spaces, assessing how existing approaches can prevent risks and harms without jeopardizing these benefits. The perspectives of young people, children, parents, and educators, as expressed in President von der Leyen's Youth Advisory Board and the Safer Internet Forum, will be a key part of the discussions on the possible approaches to policing limits on social media use. The special panel will meet on several occasions as of March 2026, with the view to presenting recommendations to the Commission President by the summer. It's absolutely hilarious, an absolute riot, that they have the perspectives of parents. What about my perspective on the parents, huh? I know I'm right. Parent your fucking kids or don't have them. Next steps. Second meeting is expected to take place in the coming months and will explore possible policy options. The panel aims to present the report with recommendations to the Commission President by summer 2026. Background. In her 2025 State of the Union address, Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced that she will commission a panel of experts to advise her on the best approach for Europe on child safety online and potential age restrictions for social media. Every single time they mention social media, I know it's because they hate people criticizing them left and right because they're a bunch of fucking idiots. Not they're just idiots, they're more evil than stupid. But first you see the stupidity, and then you understand it's by design because they're really, really evil. That's not allowed. What do you mean these plebeians can criticize us, the elite? I don't think they're elite warriors. Thankfully for us, they seem to be really weak. Tend to go even further beyond. But we'll consider a range of issues building on the world's most comprehensive toolbox for the protection of minors. This includes the DSA and its guidance on the protection of minors, the Safer Internet Centers under the Better Internet for Kids strategy, as well as the newly adopted Cyberbullying Action Plan and the Communication and Comprehensive Approach to Mental Health. The EU has also revised the rules to combat child sexual abuse online, including finalizing measures to protect minors from exploitation. That's pretty good. What about the actual sexual abuse of minors in real life? That's racist. You cannot say that. Come on. It's just because they're brown. I don't care that they're brown, actually. But I think it's way worse when they are illegal immigrants, because they shouldn't be here. The Commission has already developed an EU age verification app, which will serve as the reference standard for a user-friendly and privacy-preserving age verification method, privacy-preserving. Wait, no, that's impossible. Fully interoperable with the future EU digital identity wallets. Hey, remember this one? I do remember this one. I didn't like that one before. Also, Digital Euro is still coming. This age verification is app. This is an app, I'm assuming. As an app. Even these politicians don't know how to write. Pathetic. It's currently being tested in 5 member states: Denmark, Greece, Spain, France, and Italy. I guess some of these countries, not surprising, given current events. It will also draw feedback from the citizens' panels and the President's Youth Advisory Board, which submitted their views to the President in January 2026. It is worrying to a great extent, because they will keep pushing for this fucking bullshit on every level of society and technology. At the same time, as for myself, I'm not really that worried, because I know they're extremely stupid, they're extremely useless, and I will probably be able to bypass all of this with not a lot of trouble. That doesn't mean I should allow this to happen. Oh man, I like these people. Never like them. Not gonna start now. Okay, alright. What do we have here? There's a strange article. I don't know really exactly what they mean by this, but I think it's actually pretty topical, so we should go through it. The gateway to tech is the App Store. That's where reform must begin. By Jordan Siglo and Don Parsons, March 2nd. Free speech. What about pay-to-win speech? Isn't that way better? What's going on? If your household is anything like our families, you spend far too much time managing technology. You've tried the third-party parental control apps, they are perfect. The elusive off button doesn't exist. New apps appear on your child's phone, like Whack-A-Moles at the arcade. Why can't you set up proper rules for the kids? I don't think I'm insane for saying so. You tell the kid, okay, you will not download anything without permission. There will be consequences. And if they break the rules, there has to be consequences. Well, maybe you lose your tablet privileges for a little bit. Couple of days, maybe a week. We'll see. Depends on the severity of the situation. You need to teach them. How do they call this again? Rain, please. Speaking several languages and not getting the concept in any of them. Holy shit. Happens more than I would like. You need to teach them. I don't want to say that they have to be well trained. They're not dogs, okay? I don't think they are, at least. But you need to teach them. It's not being proper. Proper has different connotations. But they need they need rules. They need to know how to follow the rules. Rules are important because we live in a world that has laws, and you should probably follow those too. Most of the time, at least. So this is a skill issue. It's parenting a skill issue. 101. It's like it themselves. This isn't accidental. It's by design. Parents can win the fight alone. You're not even fighting. You decided not to fight. Get the hell out of here. And the stakes are simply too high. We are talking about our children's safety, development, mental health, and moral formation. I kinda missed the main point here, right? Why do you give them a phone? Or why do you give them a smartphone? You're the enabler. It is your fault. You are to blame. It was by your hand that they had to get the phone. I don't think the kid went out there to buy a phone themselves. That'd be a little bit strange. Also, child safety, development, mental health, and moral formation. Why are you not involved enough within these topics for the kids? I think it makes sense. As the House Energy and Commerce Committee evaluates a slate of youth online safety proposals, lawmakers must ensure any serious reform addresses the problem at the source. The point of download, that is, the App Store. Yes, they have the App Store installed on their brains. There's nothing you can do, it's too late. So with the App Store Accountability Act, as modeled in Ohio's House Bill 226, should serve as a model for future legislation the U.S. House of Representatives undertakes. It's common sense legislation that empowers parents, while respecting the First Amendment, utilizing a standing law on age verification. I'm not sure if that actually respects the First Amendment, but I haven't read the bill, so I'm not quite sure. The Supreme Court has made clear that while certain unprotected material may be restricted, laws must be carefully crafted to avoid bothering constitutionally protected speech. This approach does not ban speech, censor viewpoints, or regulate ideas. That's what you say, pal. It will happen. We saw that already in the EU. By design, of course. Instead, it restores decision-making authority to where it belongs, with parents. No. Actually, that is incorrect. As you, as the state, calling the parents because you let them make their own decisions, and them having a caution for that, instead of actually suffering the consequences of their own actions. Sorry, I'm rather unimpressed by all of this. You're just being really permissive of all of these bad parenting practices. Rather than picking and choosing which content is acceptable, this will provide an easy solution to a difficult problem by requiring parents to consent before their child can download an app. Sure, not as restrictive, but you're still parenting instead of the parents. I'm really not impressed, once again. Other legislation fails because they focus on regulating speech based on what topics apps covered or which audiences they targeted. This bill treats all App Store providers and platforms equally. It draws a line between social media, a weather app, or a Bible app. There are no carve-outs. Then neutrality is not only a wise policy, it's a constitutional necessity. Example, alternatives to the App Store Accountability Act, like the Parents Over Platforms Act, POPA, Papa! that is being pushed by big tech, skirt common sense protections in favor of carve-outs and loopholes for tech companies. Instead of giving parents control over what apps their kids can use, you already have that control! What do you mean? You always have that fucking control! If you're not a fucking idiot, then let the kid do whatever they want! What the hell? You can just ground them. You can just take them, their devices, because it's not their own. You probably bought it. What are we doing? Are you for real? Holy shit, I could shit up their politician and these people. My goodness. Proper relies on children who can legally enter into enforceable contracts to self-report their age. That's a bit strange too, not gonna lie. One estimates suggest that about 30% of kids would lie about their age to get access to an app. It's no wonder 88% of parents prefer the direct consent method of the App Store Accountability Act for parental control over what ends up on their kids' devices. 88% of parents should be punished! What do you mean? What do you mean by this? Shouldn't you be involved in what's going on with your kids? What the fuck is wrong with these animals? It's fucking baffling, dude. What the hell? Absolute fucking nonsense. I'm sick of this. Supreme Court has really made clear that age verification requirements can be constitutional. Distinguishing between children and adults when signing up for apps is a legitimate exercise of government authority to protect minors while preserving adults' First Amendment rights. As the court stated plainly, adults have no First Amendment right about age verification. Yeah, but they have universal privacy rights, though. So I don't know about that. Let's not forget that children can sign enforceable contracts without parental consent in nearly every other area of life. Whether they're getting a driver's license, joining a sports league, or opening a bank account, App Store agreements and in-app purchases are commercial contracts. This legislation ensures that when children engage in this kind of commercial conduct online, they do so with parental approval. That's not a First Amendment issue. It's a basic consumer protection. No, it's a parenting issue. Basic parenting issue. The App Store Accountability Act simply requires providers to confirm age and obtain parental consent with minimal intrusion. Nothing beyond what's already standard in countless commercial digital transactions that distinguish between minors and adults. In fact, App Stores already collect much of this information. Yeah, maybe they shouldn't. How about that? Maybe they shouldn't. Also, why would you need the same information if you don't need to actually pay? If it's for a payment, sure, because you need the payment method. But if you just download the fucking app, what do you mean you need to dox yourself? The internet offers enormous benefits: education, connection, community, opportunity. How did you treat that? But when platforms allow minors to create accounts and access potentially harmful content without meaningful safeguards, the federal government has both the authority and the responsibility to act, and act. They must. I don't think kids or anybody has a universal right to internet access. This is completely backwards. Parents should not have to fight against the threats of Silicon Valley for control of their children's development. No! You're fighting your children misbehaving because you're not putting rules there! Holy shit! The App Store is the front door to the modern digital world, and that is where responsibility should start. If Congress truly intends to protect children while respecting constitutional boundaries, it must act decisively by restoring parental authority, imposing meaningful accountability, and ensuring the gateway to the internet is not wide open to minors without oversight. Ensuring the way to the internet is not wide open to minors without oversight. Why do you have minors without oversight? Are you mad? I'm gonna redeem. I swear to fucking God, what are you talking about? What do you mean minors without oversight? Don't you understand that you are actually the problem? Holy shit, dude, I'm gonna have a fucking brain blast here, dude, I promise. I'm going absolutely fucking bonkers with this. Holy shit, what the fuck? Do they have flies? No, they don't, they jump to a different thing. 6 feet of fucking bullshit, dude. What the hell? Double your impact? Yeah, I'm gonna double my impact. Wait and see, pal. What about the fucking oversight? God damn it. And it's also this strange thing here. Mexican mandates biometric SIM registration for all phone numbers. It's kind of similar to something we've seen in other Latin American countries, I believe. So that's kind of funny. I don't think we need to go through this one. But it's kind of funny that keeps happening on the Latin Americas, huh? Very funny. Anyway, we can jump a little bit to games. We can talk about game stuff now, right? Hold up. I was fixing my hair a little bit. It felt a little bit all over the place. So, it's March. So it's Women History Month or something like that. I mean, it's International Women's Day on Sunday. That's a new name. It should be the Working Woman, which is not quite the same. But then again, it's now a month apparently. So of course, the guys at Twitch want to virtue signal a little bit, as they usually do. Of course they will. And it's backfiring a little bit, because women being women apparently is a problem. Oh, is this not this one? No, I didn't save it. Hold up. I thought I did. I made a mistake. How dare I make such a mistake here? Oh my goodness, this is so bad. How did that happen? I think I need to bring up Twitch. Not Twitch support, but normal Twitch. Hold up, it's relevant, man, it's relevant. So was it support? It was some sort of event bullshit. I'm not sure. Yeah, they will need to look up Sabi, because she was also criticizing this BS. Nah. God damn it, that's so bad. Okay, I'm looking. I've made a mistake. Let's see. Shit, it's a whole lot, dude. She's always online. I want to talk though. I want to talk. Not scrolling. There we go. Oh, it was Twitch Rivals. That's what happened. I get it now. Of course, that's Twitch Rivals. Oh, they roached out. What a bunch of gays. What a bunch of raging homosexuals. Classic. Hold up. Let me bring this up then. And see, shot clip. I guess we can take a look at it. Thought I had this up, but I didn't. I had way too much shit for today though, because we were going longer, so I want to be properly prepared. So we have here, let's celebrate International Women's Day together. Women's Guild United presented by Honda and Twitch Rivals. March 8th, 2 PM PT, that's Pacific time. You know what? Fuck you people. No volume. No volume because you tend to get me with that. I learned my lesson. I will not fall for it. Not again. Women's Day! Overcooked. In celebration of the voices shaping the world we play in. Women's Guild! Casual underscore. Sure. A community coming together. Overcooked 2 in the spotlight on Twitch Rivals. Casual Quest. Teamwork front and center. High energy. Plenty of loves. Casual Quest. Women's Guild United presented by Honda. And people have been throwing a shit fit of because of this, because oh my god, this is so sexist. It's Women's Day. International Women's Day. And you have them in the kitchen. The women voted for this. They wanted to play this game. What's the big deal? Looks like a fun game. Dressing the Women's Guild United Twitch Rival Show. Or like shit show. The goal of this event is to uplift this community, and as part of that, highlight women in the community, in that emphasizes teamwork, adaptability, and shared leadership. In the lead up to the powers, we collaborated with the Women's Guild on the game selection. Many games were considered before voting on 4 choices, but in Guild Vote was an open voting option. Overcooked 2 won the Guild Vote, Twitch Rivals, and the Women's Guild made a deliberate choice not to let the stereotype dictate what games women should or shouldn't play. That said, we should have shared more context about the rationale behind the choice. I mean, that was people jumping to conclusions, though. And we should have done a better job, spotlighting the creators and collaboration that helped shape the show. Future mission will better reflect the guild's voice, and the problems we hear in the Women's Guild ignited the show. Don't apologize, it was fun. Yeah, that's a Pipkin. We're happy, made me a damn sandwich already. Fucking take them, what the hell. So of course, since it's Women's Month, apparently, we have to always consider the female players. Female players are an overlooked opportunity for growth in the industry, research firm says. There's certainly potential to expand the overall number of female gamers, it suggests. Actually, no. You've been trying this for more than a decade. Most of those companies have been seeing insane flops. And you know what? Kinda like that. I kinda like when they fuck around and find out. I think it's really funny, they deserve it. But no, the main problem here is that you have games made for guys, obviously made for guys, and suddenly you're like, but what about it was made for a woman? Well, women are not going to like it, and the guys that liked it are gonna be like, oh, this is different, I don't like it anymore. Congratulations, you killed your business. That doesn't seem like a good idea to me. Certainly potential to expand the overall number of female gamers, suggests. I don't think there are as many female gamers as males, and that's fine. They like different stuff, that's okay. I mean, they just released Pocopia. That's, as some people say, a void game. I would say that a lot of women would enjoy that kind of game. I think it lacks a little bit of action for my liking. I also found Dragon Quest builders to be a little bit restrictive. That's fine. It's not for everybody. And that's okay. The game industry is overlooking potential for growth by not fully accommodating female players, according to new research by Empire Analysis. I also have the analysis app, if need be. The firm, which combines consumer research with 46,000 global respondents annually, giving market data and forecasts, and title-level sales and tracking data, says there are steps that can be taken to get more women interested in playing games. Female players represent 48% of the gaming population. Define gaming population. Define it. We all know that not every gamer is created equally. Around 922 million players across 21 markets, Empire says. With such a large scale, this 4% difference, there's represent 93 million fewer female gamers than male. Analyst Katie Holt said during a presentation held today, this represents a gap in the market that could be considered a missed opportunity with potential to increase monetization and engagement. Empire says, don't you feel engaged? Engage in the chats. I would hope. The company's research found that women tend to prefer narrative-driven, single-player experiences over competitive multiplayer games. 50% of female players surveyed saying they played The Sims 4 in the last 3 months. Nah, that's a woman game. They also found that female players are more prevalent in casual devices like smartphones and tablets, but no more than console and PC. Can the games do you play on phones and tablets again? Yeah, there's a very obvious different market. Give a list of 52 console and PC games. That's which ones they played. All 3 titles: Animal Crossing, New Horizons, The Sims 4, and fucking Roblox. Had more female players than male. Conversely, when giving a list of 50 mobile games, 13 had more female players. It also noted that when giving a list of reasons for not playing games, women are more likely than men to choose I don't like the cultural community, or it's hard to find games that suit my needs, and less likely than men to choose I don't have enough time, or gaming is too expensive. I mean, to be fair, I like the cultural community has been a common problem in modern gaming. A lot of people really stupid. There's also the infiltration of different communities, which I'm not a big fan of, for obvious reasons. They're in to change the community into something that never was. That's my main issue with a bunch of this stuff. It concludes then that the main barrier to entry for some women isn't a lack of money or time, but a lack of games with themes that appeal to them, and a gaming culture that doesn't appeal to them. Have we read this before? It looks familiar to me. I feel like I've read this before. Isn't the case that there's a subset of female non-gamers who are interested in gaming but lack the education around how to play these games? And what content is out there, all displayed? By creating entry-level content that is appropriate and marketing it effectively, there's certainly potential to expand the overall number of female gamers. Just play the fucking game and play it. I don't know what you mean. Especially when you keep mentioning smartphones. If you're interested in Animal Crossing, I'm pretty sure there's a smartphone game that's Animal Crossing. How is such a big deal? How is that a big entry to the hobby? I just don't get it. Maybe they didn't actually want to try. Maybe they just think they want to try because it's the popular thing right now. In terms of creating content that appeals to players, and pure knows that TV and film research finds that women enjoy romance, drama, and lifestyle. Women travel fashion genres significantly more than men. Yeah, we knew that thousands of years ago. Pairing this with popular game genres and themes like puzzle or simulation, a lighthearted adventure presents a significant opportunity for monetizing the female gamer audience, Holt said. Yeah, it's kinda long actually. Holt explained that by studying what themes and content appeal to female players, developers can not only introduce them to the medium, but also better integrate them into existing titles that may have more male-heavy player bases. Seems like a stupid thing to say. Female gamers in Imperial Sample were more likely to state that character customization was important to them than males. Yeah, I know, I can tell. That's usually a detriment, by the way. You care more about the aesthetics than the actual substance. Ask me how I know. Fortnite has done a particularly good job of creating interesting first-party skins, as well as bringing in variety of collaborations with artists and made it popular among women. When the Sabrina Carpenter skin was introduced to the game, you would find gangs of Sabrinas dancing together instead of fighting. Shooting? Am I shooting game? Nah. I just all for the money again, though. Oh boy. In terms of improving the culture and the community for women, I'll explain that the toxicity prevents some women from engaging with online communication, giving the inaccurate impression that online games aren't being played by women. If you cannot take the hit, maybe you shouldn't be playing. I'm gonna be real, I'm gonna be that guy. And I know I'm gonna get slagged for saying something like that, but I think it's fair. It's fair for you, it's fair for the other players. I don't think it's anything insane at this point in time. I think it's pretty sensible even. But, as usual, maybe it's not enough. Maybe we have to call up all of them all the fucking time. When you come into the hobby, you need to participate in the already existing culture. If you don't like it, it's not for you. And that's fine, man. It's fine. I self-filter myself all the time too. And I'm not a woman's. Luckily and definitely, in my own experience, women express that they avoid using voice chat in online lobbies due to toxicity concerns, Alt said. This contributes to the misconception that we aren't playing these games at all. Publishers need to prioritize moderation. Can't take the hit. Shame. With the technology rapidly improving and lowering costs, we hope to see this improve in the coming years. In the meantime, we've seen innovative workarounds through titles like Marvel Rivals or Arc Raiders who have introduced voice changers. You're fucking with male spaces to have more females for no discernible reason. I would say money, but there's more money into appeasing the guys, because you have more guys play games. Surprise, surprise. Therefore, you're just changing shit to appease the women. But you might think it's toxic, but that's how guys socialize. And that's fine. Maybe men and women shouldn't socialize together. Maybe they are too different. Maybe the instances are actually right. Imagine saying that unironically. I hope people understand this as a joke. But it is true. There's differences in how people socialize. That doesn't mean you need to destroy that way of socializing. You need to understand, it might not be for you, and that's okay. I don't like online games either. I think a lot of people are really stupid and get really heated with online games. Ask me how you know. Far too long I have suffered the curse of online gaming. And you can buy the single player games and you're like, holy shit dude, these games are so good. Where were you all my life? Sure, I might miss the co-op stuff from time to time, but yeah, I don't think it's worth it. Yeah, we can close that. There's this here. We can take a look at the graphs. It's only a single graph. Hold up. This is for not gaming. Percentage of young gamers. I don't enjoy playing video games. Understandable. I don't have enough time. Okay. I like the culture or community-run gaming. Okay. I have to find games that suit my interests. Not a huge percentage. I don't enjoy interactive or competitive activities. Gaming too complicated or hard to understand. I'm concerned about violent / inappropriate content in games. I want to try, but I don't know how to get started. Don't you guys have phones? I hate to be that guy. That was more exhaustive, what the fuck? Didn't have to keep jumping between this? I don't think I know how to do this then. Maybe I need to log in or something. This is a face, eh? This is a face. Really strange. But speaking of games, that keeps trying to appeal to people. Highguard is permanently shutting down on March 12th. Concord 2 has been conquered. Concorded? Today we're sharing difficult news. We have made the decision to permanently shut down Highguard on March 12th. Since launch, more than 2 million players stepped into Highguard's world. You shared feedback, created content, and many believed in what we were building. For that, we're deeply grateful. When you say many, you mean your own family, right? Earlier today, I think they had less than 300 concurrent players. Yeah, I don't think people really like that game, I'm sorry. Look, if the game is bad, man. Hey, shit happens. Actually, positivity and all that. Despite the passion and hard work of our team, and not being able to build a sustainable player base to support the game long term. Servers will remain online until March 12th. We hope you'll jump in with us one more time to show your support and get those final great matches here while we still can. The whole 4 people let me play the game. Team is excited to release one final game update to enjoy in the remaining life of the game. We'll be adding a new wording, a new weapon, kind of progression, and skill trees. Full patch notes are coming. We're targeting tonight or tomorrow morning for patch release. So you have a bunch of stuff that you can play for a week. About a week. Roll pass at Wildlight, thank you for playing, for supporting us, and for being part of Highguard's story. Highguard's brief story. The Concordian timeline. Marathoners will listen today, we'll see what happens. Apparently it's just a very average instruction shooter. They also announced that every 3 months, full wipes. I don't know how I feel about that. Not something I like with games, absolutely not. I do like my sense of progression. And that's why I enjoy RPGs so fucking much. You will always have a sense of progression thanks to the level in the system. And there are other progressions like gear, skills, spells. It really depends on the game, maybe even classes. In the end, it really was Concord 2. Concord, 100 million budget, lasted 12 days. Highguard, 200 million budget, lasted 45 days. I think the budget for Concord was actually way higher than this. Gamer's lesson here, because you need to spend even more money on the zero shooter for it to finally work. Hey, I believe that guy. He clearly knows what he's talking about. Of course, there's a lot of coping and sneaking about the Highguard situation. Ex-Highguard dev says the shooter leaned too far into the competitive scene that turned a lot of players off. No, people actually love competitive games. The problem is that I've already tried to do a lot of things and it didn't really manage to have a proper identity. So, that's gonna be a problem. If you don't have a proper identity, or if you don't have um, cohesive mechanics, you're gonna be in big trouble. Once again, maybe the game would be eventually good in 5 years. The problem is you're competing with other games now on release. You don't have 5 years. I'm sorry. We just kind of threw it off because they didn't have the team. The team. I don't think this is true. I think this is a bit of a cope. I've seen people really enjoying competitive games, and they do have their teams to play. They play with their friends and all that all the time. I mean, there's a lot of competitive games that are being played right now with far more success than this. It cannot be just that. I just don't believe it. Here you are, the free-to-play PvP raid shooter, announced at Game Awards last year and released only for most of its developers to be laid off just weeks after launch. And surely that's not a red flag. They have failed because it leaned too far into the competitive scene. As according to former Wildlife developer and level designer Alex Graner, or Grainer, I'm not sure, who told Quad Damage Podcast the developers don't try to create something that doesn't work out throughout development. Wildlife really leaned into the competitive side of it, and that was always one of my biggest fears as a player. Now, we read another article about the former devs. It was toxic positivity. We have lightning in a bottle. Now, I think it was a fart, which could be funny, but it's not gonna sell. Don't expect to sell a lot of farts in the lightning store. Kind of sad this is that. As you know, you're free to use it if you want. I can only speak to my side of it as a level designer, but when you joined Wildlight, he was trying to figure out this new ambitious game, and his team was always pushing the boundaries. I guess they didn't figure it out. From what I'm seeing also, speaking because this guy is a level designer, apparently the map was just gigantic, and the game mode was 3 versus 3 in the beginning. So it was a lot of space for maybe not that many interactions within players. Creator said, as described by PCGM, the Eurogamer, you don't just try to create something that doesn't work out, but it happens, unfortunately. Throughout development, we really leaned into the competitive side of it, and that was always one of my biggest fears as a player. I don't understand that leaning too much into competitive is going to alienate people. I dislike that a lot back in my times playing League of Legends. It is I am Brandon. Just one of the many curses that reside within me. At some point I decided to balance everything for ultra competitive play, and you can do that. Of course you can do that. The problem is, not a lot of people are highly competitive players like that. So you're gonna be a little bit in trouble, because that extreme balancing only works for less than 1% of the player base. And most of the players actually suffer, because you're like, okay, this was only extremely powerful in this really specific situation being played by this guy. Why are you nerfing my main character? It was okay. I was doing okay. Fuck you, pal. That happens with other games. But I guess I don't think that's what happened here. Didn't have enough time to do anything like that anyway. 3v3 is always the sweetest version of anything like Battle Royale, objective modes, wingman, you know it, you name it. It requires such a high intensity of communication with your team and team play that it doesn't leave much room for casualness. I think that was the biggest thing that turned a lot of players off Highguard. He added, I actually played a lot of 3v3 in League of Legends. I am that degenerate. It felt way more casual than 5v5. Maybe it was the players that went to that were just more laid back. I don't know. All 3v3, not new 3v3. Don't like the changes. The issue, Grin believes, is that Highguard had all these different rules and stages, which made it difficult for players who don't really have a team to play with, and particularly challenging for new players. It's like, oh, you want to loot, now you got to chase this objective, now we have to plan this objective, now it's overtime. It has all these rules, which I think works at a really high level, But when players are first coming in, it's a lot to grasp. Couldn't explain. I mean, it's a lot to grasp. A lot of people have really high gamer sense. At the end of the day, this is just a remix of other similar games. So if you played similar games, you understand the idea. Even people that like those games didn't stay to play high guard for a long time. So that cannot be it. There has to be something else. On top of all that, because it was 3v3, the kind of game just requires high skill movement and shooting. It's already pretty high bar to enter as well. So if you just have a bad few games, or your teammates aren't sticking together, it's going to get trolled, and it's very hard to 1v2 in your game. I hate to bring that to the argument. It also has to do a little bit with matchmaking. You kind of need to match people with similar skill levels in similar degenerate comps together for it to work. It's a difficult thing to do. Trust me, I've seen that once again. I played League of Legends. Matchmaking? Nah, that shit doesn't work. It's all designed to be a team-based shooter. I think that was the biggest thing. People just kind of turned it off because they didn't have the team. What about meeting people through the game? Not anymore, I guess. The former developer also recently spoke out about the disastrous announcement on launch, seeing the game and PlayStation Steam turned to junk from minute one, largely due to false assumptions about a $1 million ad placement. Well, to be fair, she also came as, oh, look at us, we're a small indie company, while being financed by Tencent. Yeah, that Tencent, the Chinese company. A number of high-profile video game developers have also defended high guard following the online backlash during the game's launch. You can look at the trailer, didn't look that great. You can tell a lot by the character design. We recently learned that high guard was apparently financially backed by Tencent, which only pulled funding just a couple of weeks after it launched. Probably has fewer than 20 developers working on it. High guard hit a peak of 97,249 concurrent players when launching Steam. Now it has just 105 on Valve's platform. Are you gonna tell me only a couple hundred people actually have teams? Actually have friends to play this stuff with? I just don't believe you. Because you see people all the time playing Overwatch, Apex Legends, Valorant, Tarkov? Is Tarkov still a thing? What else? Arc Raiders? The problem was not that. The problem was something else. I don't know what to tell you, man. What else do we have here? Oh boy. Oh boy. I kind of forgot that this week has also been a strange game news too. Some games are not doing great. Haven't read this one. I'm not really familiar with this one. So we'll go through it. I read some tweets that I didn't save. They had some fragmented information. So Snowbreak Containment Zero enters indefinite maintenance, which seems a really strange thing to do. Snowbreak has been on the news several times. First it was because of censorship, then they said, you know what, fuck you, no more English dub. Only Japanese, and I'm assuming they may have Korean or Chinese too. And I think there was some other stuff, but I'm not quite sure. This apparently has been a really strange thing going on with Chinese female players. Let's see what they mention here, and then I will try my best to fill in the gaps a little bit. It is a gacha game, by the way, if it was not clear enough with this design. Never played it. Apparently has really good graphics, if you know what I mean. Snowbreak Containment Zone has gone offline for an indefinite maintenance period. Leaving players unable to exit the game while the developers work through technical and content-related issues. The studio has requested patience from the community, explaining that the downtime may last several days or even longer. During this period, features like employee benefit system will remain frozen, but active time will be preserved for players once the servers return. Developers have also promised compensation for all affected players, which will be delivered through in-game mail after the servers reopen. That's fair. That's fair for now. The controversy behind the shutdown. The current maintenance stems from a recent collaboration between Snowbreak, Kingdom Song, in China. Half my problems come from China. The partnership includes a series of stamps and letters featuring characters from the game. Although intended as a promotional effort, the collaboration received unexpected mainstream media attention, appearing on television and drew public scrutiny. Creators targeted the game's 18-plus adult content and character designs, claiming that such material was inappropriate for a state-owned entity. Puritanical CCP, that's a new one. I guess it makes sense. They had to be to some extent. Some stuff here is not loading. They have more pictures here, so I'm not sure what's going on. The backlash intensified online, where the Tritons launched coordinated reporting campaigns against the game. Discussions spread rapidly across social platforms, including Tiaba, and even prompted coverage in Chinese media. Ultimately, the controversy led to the cancellation of the collaboration and left the game facing an indefinite maintenance period. We kind of beg the question, because if it was China Post, it shouldn't have to do anything with in-game content, as I understand it. It feels a bit strange. It feels a little bit weird. We'll see. Community reactions. Please have expressed mixed reactions to the news. Yeah, I was checking if I missed something. I don't think I did. Some viewers now rank in the Sound as a scapegoat, arguing that all the games with similar content, like casual laying, did not face comparable backlash despite running similar promotions. Others sympathize with the developers, recognizing the pressure they face navigating public scrutiny, government regulations, and fan expectations simultaneously. Fans have also debated. I saw that will below and I read that. I'm choking a lot today, it's not on purpose. Too much reading. Fans have also debated the broader implications for gacha games in China, questioning whether this incident will have a cheating effect on adult-oriented content or potential collaborations in the future. Meanwhile, the Snowbreak and the Minson community continues to monitor the situation closely, sharing updates and speculating about potential resolutions. Looking ahead. Snowbreak and the Minson's developers have confirmed that they will announce the server reopening time separately. For now, the game remains offline, leaving fans in suspense. While the indefinite maintenance represents a rare and sure response for a gacha title, it also reflects the unique combination of regulatory sensitivity, fan reactions, and media attention that has created this unusual situation. Players can expect compensation and updates through official channels once the maintenance concludes. Okay, I've seen some accusations here that this game was getting a lot of revenue, which it's not strange with some specific events, and it was the Chinese feminists that got mad because all my sexualization of the women's. At the same time, you have the biggest gacha game being a gacha game for the women's. Do you remember the name? I'm kind of bad with names. I can probably look that up. Biggest gacha game for women. No waifus, come on. Gacha game and for women. Love and Deep Space, there we go. Which is extremely degenerate, by the way. It is really spicy and apparently has some sort of feature in-game that lets you track your period. Make what you want with that information. It's really strange. It's by far the biggest gacha game in the market. It gets a huge amount of money every single month. So of course people, at least on social media, have been complaining about the current state of this hypocritical gacha game situation. So people, I guess, are assuming, I don't know if there's any confirmation, that they might censor a bunch of stuff in the game, Snowbreak. I hope it doesn't. They have fought against censorship several times before, so I hope they don't fall now. I don't know. I mean, it's China Post and yes, of course in Chinese, it's Bilibili. But I don't know if the game is actually Chinese. Let me check that. Snowbreak Containment Zone. Let's see. Country foraging, maybe? Country foraging makes sense. People's Republic of China. Oh, that's kind of bad. That's kind of a problem to have Chinese people complaining about this. So we'll see about that. We'll see about that. Maybe cracking down from the CCP itself. I know it sounds really strange, but I mean, communists love their censorship anyway. I don't think it's that surprising. So, something that can always happen. What else do we have here? Yeah, there was something strange about sexual misconduct from a mangaka in Shogakukan. Don't know enough about that one. Want to go through that one. And we have a couple more stuff with AI. We can get through that too, right? From the BBC. Be Black China! We got into context, men over workers watching intimate AI glasses videos. I don't understand why people keep falling for this smart glasses stuff. I just don't get it. They look, oh, so high tech. Yeah, what about the security? I don't know about that. It's always a problem. DK Data Watchdog is writing to Meta following concerning report claiming outsourced workers were able to view sensitive content filmed by the company's AI smart glasses. More problems with privacy. Oh boy. Kinda feels like every yapping session is always the same fucking issues. Getting sick of this, to some extent. Meta says subcontracted work, deconstruct. Workers might sometimes review content, including films and images, captured by its AI smart glasses, for the purpose of improving the experience. I'm assuming you cannot opt out of this. Videos including last words, using the toilet or having sex, are sometimes reviewed by a Kenya-based Meta subcontractor, according to an investigation by Swedish newspaper Svenska Dagbladet, SPD, and Göteborgs-Posten, GP. Imagine my shock. I wouldn't even want to record myself having sex, even if it was an actual webcam, locally. Who knows what's going on with that? We see everything, from living rooms to naked bodies, one worker reportedly said. Meta said it took the protection of people's data very seriously. Yeah, I don't think so. And was constantly refining its efforts and tools in that area. Private Meta glasses help you use AI, hands-free, to answer questions about the world around you. The tech giant told BBC News. When people share content with Meta AI and other companies, we sometimes use contractors to review this data. To improve people's experience with the glasses, as stated in our privacy policy, it added, I know it has nothing to do with it, but it makes me even more suspicious of all of the ID verification bullshit. Because you know the same shit is gonna happen. Data source filtered to protect people's privacy, while vulnerating people's privacy. I shouldn't be surprised, but I find it funny. According to Meta, filtering could include blurring faces and images, but sources who have spoken to SVD and GP said sometimes it's failed and people's faces could be seen. Of course. You know you can always fail. I guess this is one of these worst case scenarios I talked to you about. We've been living in the worst case scenario for a long time. Users have to activate recording manually or through a voice command, but may not realize that videos and images are sometimes reviewed by humans. As described within Meta's extensive privacy policies and terms of service. Nowadays you need to understand, if you're using anything that's technology, it's not private. Unless you made it, I suppose. Same with Discord, same with social media, same with even end-to-end encryption. I just don't believe it's actually real in most cases. Are you gonna tell me a meta company, WhatsApp, and all that, they actually have end-to-end encryption? No, I just don't believe it. If they do, they clearly have backdoors. So much for the encryption, I guess. Response to request from the BBC. Meta provided a link to its supplemental media platform's terms of service, but it did not identify which sections those terms cover the review of content by human contractors. Oh, what a fucking snake. Meta UK AI terms of service, the company says, in some cases Meta will review your interactions with AIs, and this review may be automated or manual, human. Okay, but at the very least you didn't mention subcontractors, which is kind of misleading too. Because the subcontractors I don't think would be beholden to the same standards as Meta themselves. But the UK's data watchdog, the Information Commissioner's Office, told BBC News devices processing personal data, including smart glasses, should put users in control and provide for appropriate transparency. Service providers must clearly explain what data is collected and how it is used, it said in a statement. The claims in this article are concerning. It will be written to Meta to request information on how it is meeting its obligations under UK data protection law. Once again, data protection law, my favorite. They actually don't do anything. It's a nice platitude, but yeah, I don't think they actually do anything from what we're saying. Sometimes you can just ignore it. Legally, by the way, which is absolutely bonkers. An updated version of their statement sent after the publication of this article, Meta said, unless users choose to share our media that captured with Meta or others, that media stays on the user's device. When people share our content with Meta AI, we sometimes use contractors to review this data for the purpose of improving people's experiences, as many other companies do. Okay, I guess that makes sense to some extent, but I kind of feel like we still need to ask. It's not end-to-end encrypted, so that's still a privacy problem. I would say a pretty obvious privacy problem. So I guess I just don't get it. I guess it's just a strange mix between people not understanding how technology works, which sure, nobody reads the TOS of anything. Nobody did anyway. But I think it's more important nowadays than before. And on top of that, people keep sharing more and more sensitive data. So it becomes a really muddy place to be. This is what my nose again, give me a second. Never share sensitive data, once again. Doesn't matter the situation, I suppose. The workers the Swedish paper spoke to were data annotators, teaching Meta's AI to interpret images by manually labeling content. They were employed by a Nairobi-based outsourcing company called Summa, which has a history of work in data annotation. The worker said they also reviewed transcripts of interactions with the AI to check it had answered the questions adequately. They described privacy protections in the workplace, with cameras everywhere, and no mobile phones were permitted. But the content they saw was often extremely sensitive, they said, including class wearers watching pornography. See, I don't think people would record that and send it to somebody else. That's my main issue with this. Probably not the same as having sex. Why are you having sex with your smart glasses on? That doesn't make any sense to me. In one instance, the worker told the newspapers Miss Glasses were left recording in a bedroom where they later filmed the woman, apparently the man's wife, undressing. Miss Glasses have a light in the corner of the frames that is turned on with the built-in cameras recording images or videos. Okay, if you're not sending the data, why are you getting access to it? I think this is actually more dangerous than I initially thought. Which is... Way worse than you can imagine, I bet. The firm warns against misuse of the tech, advising users to show others when the recorded line is on and avoiding recording in private spaces. In email statement, some told the BBC that it did not comment on its work with specific clients, but said that it was a provider of data services for various tech companies to help them improve the accuracy and reliability of their AI models. They will do everything, they will sacrifice you completely to their AI techniques. If they can improve it even just a little bit, they will break every single rule in the book. Just to do that. It's kinda rough, not gonna lie. Don't think that should be legal. It's a very big privacy problem. The firm said its work complied with international regulations and had rigorously audited policies designed to protect customer information. Yeah, I don't think you do, actually. This work is conducted in secure, access-controlled facilities. Personal devices are not permitted on production floors, and all team members undergo background checks and receive ongoing training in data protection, confidentiality, responsible AI practices. Yeah, okay, sure, that's cool, but why are you actually reviewing content that shouldn't be sent to anybody? It's really weird, it's really strange. Shouldn't be surprised this being meta and all that. Holy shit, I'm rolling all over my screen. What the fuck is wrong with me? What am I? Little animal. Can't answer that. Artists receive living wages and full benefits and have access to comprehensive wellness resources and on-site support, the firm said. Yeah, the problem is not the workers, pal. How do I tell you this? In his concerns, in September, Meta unveiled a range of AI-powered devices in partnership with glasses brand Ray-Ban and Oakley. BBC News has approached the glass makers, parent company EssilorLuxottica, for comment. Rapid advancements in AI have resulted in a proliferation of wearable gadgets designed to interpret images and sounds captured by the device. Yeah, it's never just local, is it? Features can include translating text, responding to questions about what the user is looking at, a particular useful feature for those who are blind or partially sighted. However, as the devices have grown in popularity, so they have concerns about their misuse. Women have previously told the BBC they were filmed without their consent by users of smart glasses. Classic. Well, it doesn't matter. That's not within our TOS, despite it being actually illegal. So they could be reviewing, quite literally, illegal content. Yeah, it's kinda funny. When you think about that. Data Annotator Sama is a non-profit organization with the aim of increasing employment through the provision of tech jobs. It is designated as an ethical B Corp, but a previous contract providing content moderation services to tech companies attracted criticism alongside legal action by former employees. And since stopped content moderation services and later said it's regretting taking on this kind of work. Yeah, now you regret it, come on, man. I mean, to be fair, I would never trust anything related to Meta. I've seen them. Don't you really trust this guy? He looks far more human nowadays, but I don't think that's saying a whole lot. It's very clear they just keep spying on you. And there's not much you can do about that. And the more funny gadgets and devices you want to get into, it's gonna get even worse and worse. But I guess most people don't really care or even understand what's actually happening. Which I find to be pretty dangerous in general. You should understand the ins and outs, or the general ins and outs at the very least, of the technologies you use or the services you use. This being one of them. Technology advances rapidly, but people do not. So at the end of the day, for a little bit of convenience, they will sell their souls to the demons. Hate to say that, but it's not that surprising. And how about we finish with some more AI nonsense? Thought this was a little bit strange. Pseudonymity is over. LLMs can amass pseudonymous users and scale with surprising accuracy. I don't know how much I believe this. Maybe it's just me understanding how to work with different accounts, dare I say. But we'll get through this. We'll see what happens. Pseudonymity has never been perfect for preserving privacy, so it may be pointless. Burner accounts on social media sites can increasingly be analyzed to identify the pseudonymous users who post to them using AI in research that has far-reaching consequences for privacy on the internet, researchers said. The finding from a recently published research paper is based on results of experiments correlating specific individuals with accounts or posts across more than one social media platform. This access rate was far greater than existing classical de-anonymization work that relied on humans assembling structured datasets suitable for algorithmic matching or manual work by skilled investigators. Recall, that is, how many users were successfully de-anonymized was as high as 68%. Precision, meaning the rate of guesses that correctly identified the user, was up to 90%. I know what you posted last year. That's because, and I can already tell you, right here, right now, a lot of people, I would say most people, follow the same patterns of behavior, writing, expressions, so on and so forth, which is actually very easy to fix. You just need to act as somebody else. You need to use different expressions. Maybe you should make different typos and all that. It's not perfect, but it really helps. Findings have the potential to upend pseudonymity, imperfect but often sufficient privacy measure just for people to post curious and participate in sometimes sensitive public discussions while making it hard for others to positively identify the speakers. I mean, as long as the ideas are good, I don't think that matters. Maybe that's just me. The ability to cheaply and quickly identify the people behind such obscure accounts opens them up to doxing, stalking, and the assembly of detailed marketing profiles that track where speakers live, what they do for a living, and other personal information. The pseudonymity measure no longer holds. I mean, I don't think that means you will be able to find out exactly who these people are if they never use their actual legal names. But then again, they could use doxing material to trace everything back to the person, if need be. Our findings have significant implications for online privacy, the researchers wrote. The average online user has long operated under an implicit threat model where they have assumed pseudonymity provides adequate protection, because targeted de-anonymization would require extensive efforts. LLMs invalidate this assumption. Yeah, it's kinda long, but it's fine. As some graphics here, I don't know if we can parse everything. Okay. Nothing and done, MDS good. All 5 attributes align. This is just like the Facebook profiles. It's not surprising, I suppose. The researchers collected several datasets from public social media sites to test the techniques while preserving the privacy of the speakers. See what I mean? Everything is just about OPSEC. Never share sensitive information with anybody, especially not on the internet. It's always gonna come back to bite you in the ass, like Biscuit the dog. Well, we then collected posts from Hacker News and LinkedIn profiles, and then linked them by using cross-platform references that appear on the user profiles. They then strived to identify references from the post and run a large language model on them. The second dataset was obtained from a Netflix release of microidentities, such as individual preferences, recommendations, and transaction records. In 2008's research paper showed that using what has come to be known as the Netflix price attack, the list could identify users and ID their political affiliations and other personal information. The last technique is split in single user thread history. What we found is that these AI agents can do something that was previously very difficult. Starting from free text, like an anonymized interview transcript, they can work their way to the full identity of a person. Simon Lerming, a co-author of the paper, told Ars, "There's a pretty new capability. Previous approaches on re-identification generally required structured data, and 2 datasets with a similar schema that could be linked together." I mean, it's kind of similar to what you're doing, but it's more automated, I guess. All the pseudonymity stripping methods, Lerman said, AI agents can browse the web and interact with it in many of the same ways humans do. They can use similar reasoning to match potential individuals. In one experiment, the researchers looked at responses given in a questionnaire Anthropic took About how various people use AI in their daily lives. Using the information taken from answers, the researchers were able to positively identify 7% of 125 participants. That doesn't seem that high. But I guess it's better than nothing. While 7% recall is relatively low, it demonstrates the growing capability of AI to identify people based on very general information they gave. The fact that the AI can do this at all is a noteworthy result, Lerman said. And as AI systems get better, they will likely get better at finding more and more identities. Maybe that's why I kinda dislike sharing some of my most niche interests. Could be easy to trace me back. Don't like that. But I guess in general I don't think people would be really that interested in that. In the second experiment, the researchers gathered comments made in 2024 from the r/movies subreddit and released one of the 5 horror communities. /horror, /movie suggestions, /letterboxd, /truefilm, and /movie details. The results show that the more movies a candidate discussed, the easier it was to identify them. You start to see not only what they think about more movies, so it's more data, but you start to see commonalities in speech, for example, or writing techniques in this case. An average of 3.1% of users sharing one movie could be identified with a 90% precision, and 1.2% of them at a 99% precision. With 5 to 9 shared movies, 90% of 99% precision rose to 8% and 2% of users, respectively. More than 10 shared movies bumped the percentage to 48.1 and 17. That's quite a lot. But I guess it kinda makes sense in that regard. I mean, once again, the more data you have, the easier everything becomes, I suppose. In a third experiment, the researchers took a set of 5,000 Reddit users. The researchers added 5,000 destruction identities of Reddit users to the candidate pool. The researchers compared their method to the older Netflix price attack, getting added to the list of 10,000 candidate profiles, 5,000 query distractors, comprising users who appear only in a query set, with no true match in the candidate pool. Compared to classical baseline that makes the Netflix price tag to allow the anonymization, the latter far outperformed the former. I see. Interesting. The researchers wrote! It's kinda heavy. I understand people turning out of this. Not gonna lie. A. The precision of classical attacks drops very fast, splitting its slow recall. In contrast, the precision of LLM-based attacks decays more gracefully as the attacker makes more guesses. The classical attack almost fails completely, even at moderately low precision. In contrast, even the simplest LLM attack, Search, achieves non-trivial recall at low precision. And standing in with 3-second calibrate steps doubles recall at 99% precision. The results show that LLMs, when still prone to false positives and other weaknesses, are quickly outstripping more traditional resource-intensive methods for identifying users online. Which feels kinda scary. I do enjoy privacy, I think privacy is really cool, I think privacy is really good. But, and we have to mention this all the time, with these ID laws and whatnot, this is becoming a bigger and bigger problem. It's just about destroying anonymity in the internet in general, I would say, which is something I'm not particularly thrilled about. Don't think they're gonna use this for evil, but as long as the government can get hold of this, will not like it. Researchers went on to propose mitigations, including the platform for rates limits on API access to user data, detect automated scrapping, and restricted bulk data exports. LLM providers also monitor for the misuse of their models in the anonymization attacks and build guardrails. But most refuse the anonymization requests. The cat is out of the box, it's too late, I don't think you can do this. It's just a skill issue at this point, I guess. Now, of course, another option is for people to dramatically curb their use of social media. At the minimum, you will only delete posts after a set time threshold. You need to be savvy about how to use social media in that regard. If LLM success in anonymizing people improves, dear future warned. Governments can use the techniques to mask online critics. Corporations could assemble customer profiles for hyper-targeted advertising, and attackers could build profiles of targets built to launch highly personalized social engineering scams. Saying this, as this is not happening, I understand it's gonna get worse, but this is already happening. Recent advances in LLM capabilities have made it clear that there is an urgent need to rethink various aspects of computer security in the wake of LLM-driven offensive cyber capabilities. The researchers warned, our work shows the same is likely true for privacy as well. Oh boy. It's an interesting discussion, I will agree to that. But if you have the bag completely out of the cat completely out of the bag and completely killed that lying almost, I just don't think there's really a way to fix this. It's probably just on the user side at this point, if that makes any sense. Will people fix new shit? Will people stop sharing literally everything all the time? I just don't think so. I wish they did, but then again, I wish for so many things in life. Boy. I always be careful with the shit you say and share on the internet. I don't know how many times you can say it, but it's never enough, clearly. Anyway, getting candlelight. I think it's time for me to take my leave. Should get something to eat, I suppose. So, next time, on Saturday, it's birthday time. I will make the waiting room later. And I'm assuming it's gonna start as the same time as usual. We'll go for a couple of hours, we'll chill, we'll inspect a little bit, we'll smash our pass, and we'll see whatever else actually happens. So, thank you for coming. Hope you had some fun. And I will see you all on Saturday. Until then, you know the rules. Never stop pushing against these absolute lunatics, because they clearly are lying to you, partially because they don't understand what they're talking about. And take care.